Good morning, good afternoon to all my ladies and gentlemen out there. It is CJ Curry, and of course, this is the CJ Curry Show. It's presented by PrizePicks. Thank you so much for PrizePicks sponsoring the show. If you're not playing on PrizePicks yet, a 100% instant deposit match awaits you on your first deposit on PrizePicks. So take advantage today. You can put up to $100 in. They're going to match it dollar for dollar, making your first entry on PrizePicks, your first foray into PrizePicks completely risk-free. Promo code Curry gets you that offer. I've left a link down in the description of today's video. If you're not already playing on PrizePicks, get started today. You just pick your favorite superstars from your favorite sports. You combine up to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 picks. All right, and you can win up to 25 times your money. And today they're doing Taco Tuesday, so we're going to see some discounted player props across the board. Different projections for different players in different sports will be discounted. The tacos lately, guys, I got to say, got to give it the chef's kiss because the tacos lately have been hitting more often than not. Have you guys noticed that? I don't know what the exact record is for the last several tacos, but definitely more hits than misses. So shout out to whoever's voting on these tacos, whoever is, posting these tacos, these options for us to vote on. You guys are doing the Lord's work, and we appreciate you. We had a fantastic night last night in Patreon. God, it was much needed. Much needed. It's been very cold lately for me. Things have not been going so well for me lately, but last night we turned it around. I posted 8 picks to Patreon. 7-1 on those picks, so very happy with those results. I'll take 7-1 any day of the week and twice on Sunday. The only pick that sold us was Mike Conley Jr., who needed 0.5 fantasy score to get over his fantasy score prop. Unfortunately, that game turned into a blowout, and Mr. Michael Conley Jr. didn't quite get there, so that was the one knock on our 8 picks. But yes, it's been a little cold lately, so I'm hoping yesterday was a sign of things to come and that we turn it around and things start to warm up lately. So anyway, let's get through to the chat real quick. We got a lot of folks in here. Dante's back again. Good to see you, Dante. Thanks for joining us. I remember from you from yesterday. I appreciate you. Hopefully you had some luck. Dewan's in the building. He says, how you doing today, CJ? Hey, Dewan, I'm doing pretty good, man. I'm above ground. My health is getting better. There's tacos on the PrizePicks board already. And we got some NBA action to look forward to. So I can't really complain, man. I get to sit up here and talk to you guys and try to help you folks win some money on PrizePicks. So I'm blessed, brother. And hopefully you're doing well on top of that. So Neville's in the building. Shout out to Neville. Ray, let's crush these tacos today. I love it. What do you guys like? You guys like a good crunchy taco, or are you guys more into the soft taco variety? Let me know in the chat. Ryan's in the building. He won one of our free 2-pick power plays to score himself $100 on PrizePicks. Shout out to you, Ryan. I'm working behind the scenes with PrizePicks to get those free entries out to your PrizePicks account. So be patient. It's coming. I haven't forgotten about anybody. So these things take time, though. They do take time. Little moving parts behind the scenes to get these free entries out to you guys. So we'll make sure we do that. Chris is in the building. What's up to you? Taylor's here. He says, now I want to go get some tacos. Tacos do sound pretty darn good. I'm not going to front. I could go for a couple tacos right about now. Big O Meat. That's a hell of a name. Is Donovan Mitchell playing today? We'll get into that. We'll figure that out in just a moment. Mario's in the building. Shout out to Mario. We got Ryan. CJ, what up, though? Ryan, you flex. I got to flex back. You know the rules. It's just something we do around here. So shout out to you, Ryan. King United's in the building. He's happy for Taco Tuesday. We got the truck who says he's headed to Vegas in the morning. Needs some extra gambling money. Let's go. Well, unfortunately, as far as I know, I don't think PrizePicks is legal in Nevada. I don't think so. So I don't think you're going to be playing any PrizePicks in Nevada, but that's all right. I'm sure you've got lots of different options out there, ways for you to gamble in Las Vegas, Nevada. So you'll be fine. Brian's in the building. He's already liking some LeBron James under 32.5 points. We'll definitely take a look at that one for you, Brian, if you want. Denham's here. He says, yo, my man CJ. Shout out to you, Mr. Denham Banks. We got B Don. He's liking some Choco Tacos. John Badger, what's happening? We got Al Pink in the building. He says, hey, everyone, I'm glad to hear you're doing better. Hey, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah. seasonal allergy stuff for the most part, but my taste, my smell's finally starting to come back. My energy levels are getting better. My voice doesn't sound so deep and gravelly. So we're getting there slowly but surely. All right. I owe somebody from yesterday's comment section a risk-free two-pick power play on PrizePicks to win $100. So you guys who are watching for the very first time, you may not know what in the heck I'm talking about. Here, let me break it down for you. For those who have subscribed, for those who have hit the like button, and for those who go to the comment section after these live shows end and leave a favorite pick, prop, or play of the day, you're going to automatically be entered in to win a risk-free two-pick power play on PrizePicks. And you get both of those picks right, you win yourself $100. I'm giving away one of these risk-free two-pick power plays every single show, every single day. It's my way to show my appreciation to you. I've partnered with PrizePicks. They've enabled me, allowed me to be able to do this for you guys. So I'm going to keep giving away these risk-free two-pick power plays to you folks out there. We're going to keep stuffing money in your pockets. Hopefully you get those two picks right and you score some buckaroos. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. Let's pick ourselves a winner from yesterday's show. Guys, we had 39 total comments from yesterday's comment section. So shout out to everybody who left a comment. Those who left a comment, you've automatically been entered in to win one of these risk-free two-pick power plays. So listen, I've got the comments already loaded up. All that's left to do now is hit this start button. It'll randomize all of those comments and select one. If we get a duplicate, we'll probably pick somebody else. I want to spread the love. I want to get as many people winning as possible. So let's see who we got here. All right, I think this is a new name. I have not seen this name selected in recent days. So shout out to Bray Robert. Bray Robert. I don't know if you're watching live. Maybe you're catching me on the replay. Bray, bars. But if you are watching, go ahead and shoot me a DM. I need your PrizePicks email address so that I can get this risk-free two-pick power play added to your PrizePicks account. You can DM me two different ways. You can reach me on Twitter at Curry the Creator, just like you see down on the banner below, or you can jump into our risk-free, totally free Discord. Discord's another way. Discord link is down in the description below. You can jump into the Discord. I've got bots in there to help you with your player prop research. I got news feeds set up to help you with your player prop research. So that's a good way for you to reach me as well. So you can DM me on Twitter at Curry the Creator or jump into the free Discord link down in the description below for both of those methods. So congratulations to Bray Robert. Two-pick power play going to be coming your way here. Like I said, you get two picks right, both picks right, you win yourself $100 on PrizePicks. How can you go wrong? All right, jumping into today's Larry Birdle, we're going to try to figure out who today's mystery player of the day. A little warm-up exercise, a little brain teaser to get the juices flowing, to get us thinking about some basketball here. Basically, we get 8 guesses. They're going to reveal different clues based on our guesses, and we'll get to that winning player, hopefully, or that mystery player. In this case, Nikola Vucevic, who is our thumbnail player of the game, has a great matchup tonight against the Indiana Pacers, was our first guess. It is not Nikola Vucevic. Here's what we have come to learn here, though, based on our guess of Nikola Vucevic. It's somebody from the Eastern Conference. Although they are not in the Central Division, where the Chicago Bulls play, this player's not a center, somebody who's shorter than 6'10", younger than 32 years old, and is rocking a jersey number higher than number 9. So those are the clues that we have so far. We know it's an Eastern Conference player, but not a team in the Central Division, not a center, somebody shorter than 6'10", younger than 32 years old, and of course that jersey number is going to be higher than number 9. Just to guys, kind of give you guys a idea of the type of players that they've thrown our way recently. We had JaMychal Green yesterday, Kyle Anderson, Isaiah Jackson, Dylan Brooks, Larry Nance Jr., Jackson Hayes, Dominic Barlow, Troy Brown, Jared Vanderbilt, Tari Eason, Dwight Powell, Garrett Temple, and Boban. So they're not giving us superstars a lot of the times. A lot of the times these guys are more like rotational and bench players. Every once in a while you'll get a starter. So what do you guys think? Throw some guesses my way. We know it's not somebody in the Central Division, so we could automatically rule out teams like the Cavaliers, the Pistons, the Pacers, and the Bucks. So we could go down south to Atlanta. We could go Charlotte. We could go Miami, Orlando, Washington. Another way we could go is Atlantic. We could go Boston, Brooklyn, New York, Philadelphia, or Toronto. So we know it's going to be a guard. Monty Morris is a guess. All right, B-Don saying Monty Morris. Let's throw Monty Morris out there. We got Tyrese Maxey being guessed as well. Let's go Monty Morris. All right. Not going to be Monty Morris, but Monty Morris was a solid guess because it did get us a lot closer to our goal, which is figuring out who this mystery player is. So we now know that this player resides in the Southeast. In the Eastern Conference Southeast Division, plays guard. Could be a hybrid player like a guard/forward. Somewhere between 6'2" and 6'10" in height. Somewhere between 32 years old and 27 years old. Going to be younger than 27. So we could be looking at a player who's like 25, 26. And then that jersey number of 22, still too low. We're looking for a jersey number higher than the 22 that Monty Morris wears on his back. So we are in the right division. We are looking for a guard/forward. Who else do we have in the Southeast Division? Well, we got the likes of the Atlanta Hawks, the Charlotte Hornets, the Miami Heat, and the Orlando Magic. Maybe it's one of my Magic guys. Maybe it's a guy like, I don't know. I'm just going to throw a name out there. Chuma Okeke, right? Somebody who's not really well known. It's not going to be Chuma. Not an Orlando Magic player. But Chuma is one of those forwards, one of those, lesser known names out there. So this player does look like a hybrid player, like a guard/forward. Chuma's too tall at 6'8". So we're looking for somebody a little bit shorter, maybe around the 6'5", 6'6" range. Chuma, too young at 24, but Monty Morris was too old at 27. So we're looking for somebody right around 25, probably 26. We got Duncan Robinson being guessed. We've got Kyle Kuzma being guessed. We know it's not a Washington Wizard, though. Franz Wagner, it's not going to be an Orlando Magic player. Basically, we've narrowed it down to a couple of teams here. Charlotte, Atlanta, or Miami. Charlotte, Atlanta, or Miami. So Duncan Robinson was somebody that was guessed. Let's take a look at this silhouette real quick. Maybe this will help us out. Is that Duncan Robinson? This player looks like he might be a European player or a white guy, possibly. I'm seeing some spiky hair based on this silhouette. I mean, that kind of does look like Duncan Robinson. I think whoever guessed Duncan Robinson, I'm kind of rocking with that. Let's see if we get it right here with Duncan Robinson. If it's not Duncan Robinson, I'm really going to kind of be lost here. It is not Duncan Robinson. Oh, who are we looking for then? All right, it is a Miami Heat player, not Duncan Robinson. This guy plays forward. Duncan Robinson's 6'7". He's a little bit too tall. That jersey number's 55. It's going to be too high. So we're looking for a jersey number below 55, but we are on the Miami Heat. This could be a couple of guys, all right? Let's think about Miami real quick. Who do they got? They got Omer Yurtseven. That's one guy that comes to mind. They got Max Strus. That's another guy that comes to mind. It could be the rookie, Jovic. So there's a number of different names out there. I'm seeing a lot of love for Max Strus. Could be Tyler Harrow, too. Very good point. Very good point. How did I forget Tyler Harrow? Harrow, Strus, Yurtseven. Could be. Let's go with... I'm going with Yurtseven real quick. I'm going to go with Omer Yurtseven. And if it's not him, I think it might be... All right, it's not Yurtseven. Not going to be Yurtseven. He's too tall. Let's go with Strus. Max Strus for the win? Max Strus it is. Max Strus with a spiky little haircut. A little beard on him there. Shout out to Max Strus, Beard Gang. Guard/forward, 6'5" is Max Strus. He's 26 years old, and he's rocking jersey number 31. So shout out to everybody who was on Max Strus. I think Duncan Robinson was a solid guest to help us get that stepping stone to get closer and closer here to Max Strus. So it's congratulations to everybody who got Max Strus right. Boom. All right, let's go ahead and flip this thing over here and talk about today's NBA slate. Guys, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different NBA games. So we'll call this a medium-sized NBA slate. Plenty of options, though. Plenty of options. Starting things off here between Chicago and Indiana. Chicago playing some pretty decent basketball. I was all over DeMar DeRozan last night. It was funny. I took DeMar DeRozan under his first half PRA. Very low hit rates on that. Go check it out if you haven't yet. And then I also took DeMar DeRozan over his full game fantasy score. He hit both. So shout out to DeMar DeRozan doing exactly what I had hoped he would do. But for me, I think Nikola Vucevic is an interesting play today because the Indiana Pacers just have not defended the center position well. I mean, if we take a quick glance here, for the season, centers against the Indiana Pacers, we know that the Pacers have not only been giving it up to opposing centers, 55.8 fantasy points, which is the fifth most fantasy points per game to opposing centers, right? That's 23.5 points, over 16 rebounds per game, nearly 4 assists. They're giving up a total of 3 or more stocks per game for the season. But also, if we look at the last 7 games, you can see that Indiana really has not gotten a whole lot better. Still giving up over 58 fantasy points per game, 19.6 points, over 15 rebounds, over 4.5 assists. And then the stocks, man, they're giving up 5 in the last 7 games, over 5 steals and blocks to opposing centers in the last 7 games. So I think this really bodes well for a guy like Nikola Vucevic, which is why he was my thumbnail player of the day today. Nikola Vucevic has hit his fantasy score in 3 straight games, and he gets another smash spot tonight against the Indiana Pacers. As far as injuries go, Goran Dragic, game time decision. Indiana's going to be looking at Tyrese Halliburton's out, obviously. Andrew Nembhard, the rookie, is a game-time decision. If he's out, I really, really like TJ McConnell. And I think TJ McConnell should be in play for you today. This is the type of up-and-down type of game where TJ McConnell really shines. I played McConnell a couple nights ago. Didn't do so well against the Nuggets. Came back with a huge triple-double monster game against the Phoenix Suns. So TJ McConnell, fun little player. He's been really good. If you've played daily fantasy sports over the last few years, you know TJ McConnell has the ability to fill it up in the points, the rebounds, and the assists, and he'll get you some stocks. So I think TJ McConnell on the other side of this game could be some fun. But 234 points. Love the total here. Just a 2-point spread. Hopefully things stay close and stay competitive. Bulls are on a back-to-back tonight, so fatigue could be a factor. 7:30 p.m. also brings us the Boston Celtics at the Miami Heat. Guys, my Orlando Magic, I love to see it. I love to see it. Jonathan Isaac played 10 minutes last night, or 9 minutes last night, had over 10 points, had some stocks. My boy was doing it all, some rebounds. So shout out to Jonathan Isaac, finally making his way back out on the floor. And yes, we own the Boston Celtics. The Orlando Magic own the Boston Celtics this season. Boston's going to be on a back-to-back. They're still down here in Florida, in the southeastern region of Florida. They're going to be taking on the Miami Heat tonight. 217.5 points. Very low total here. Just a 3-point spread. I know a lot of folks were pissed off because Jason Tatum's rebounds and assists did not pull through. Well, listen, we're still gambling, folks. There are no locks. There are no guarantees. You guys come here asking, what are the locks? Who got the locks? Let me see the locks. I ain't got no locks. But what we can do is apply some research and do our best to guess what these guys might do on a given night. Now, last night I was on Derek White for 2 different props. I took the over on his 1.5 turnovers. That's got a pretty high hit rate without Marcus Smart and Malcolm Brogdon. So if Derek White's on the board today, I don't know if Smart's playing or not, but if Derek White starts and Smart's out of the game, consider some Derek White over turnovers if you can get your hands on it, or Derek White over 3.5 rebounds. Both of those, 5 out of 6. Now it's 6 out of 7 hit rate without Smart and Brogdon. So Derek White could be another option, potentially. Just depends on if Smart and or Brogdon are out again tonight. But nonetheless, the Celtics have a lot of injury news for us to stay on top of, including Robert the Time Lord Williams, Marcus Smart, Malcolm Brogdon, and Big Al Horford, who is more likely to play than doubtful. So stay on top of the injury news for the Boston Celtics. And then over on the Miami Heat side, no Duncan Robinson, no Jovic, and no Yurtseven. 3 of the guys that we were thinking about guessing on today's mystery player, all going to be out for Miami. So this is going to be one of those low scoring game. But the spread is tight here at 3 points. So not expecting a ton of offense from this game. All right. Cleveland at New York, 7:30 p.m. tip-off. It looks like we might be getting Donovan the Spider Mitchell back for the Cleveland Cavaliers. So Garland, Mitchell, Okoro, Evan Mobley, and Jared Allen will be your starting 5 if Donovan Mitchell is truly good to go. Over on the New York Knicks side, Emmanuel Quickley, who's been playing very well lately. He's a game-time decision. They're going to be without Mitchell Robinson, which means more minutes for the likes of Jericho Sims and Isaiah Hartenstein. All right, so that's who's going to be matching up here against the likes of Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. 220.5, again, not the highest total in the world. One of these more slower pace type of games. So quell your expectations here. Maybe back off on taking so many props from this game, especially if you're one of those types of players who like to take the more versus the less, or the over versus the under. You may want to limit your exposure to this game. But nonetheless, 220.5 points, 3.5 point spread. All right, Denver at New Orleans, which is a fun little game here. 8 p.m. tip-off. Another game that is just littered with injury news, so you're going to have to wait and see who plays and who sits, right? We've got 230.5 points, though, between these two teams. Pretty healthy little total. It's a 1-point spread at this juncture, but of course, that can change with players being ruled in, ruled out. It's forever a moving target, right? As far as the amount of points that are going to be scored, the spread of the game. But as of right now, the Nuggets have Bones Hyland, Nikola Jokic, Michael Porter Jr., all listed as game time decisions. Those are three major pieces in what the Denver Nuggets like to do. Obviously, I don't have to say it. Nikola Jokic would be a major piece if he decides to sit out again tonight. If he does sit out, you're going to probably see some more DeAndre Jordan at center. Over on the other side of this thing here, we got the New Orleans Pelicans. They've got their own list of injuries. Obviously, Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson still out. Ingram is listed as a game time decision, but he looks like he is more doubtful, but he's getting closer and closer to making his return. It'll be great for the New Orleans Pelicans to get B.I. Brandon Ingram back in the mix. Najee Marshall is a game time decision. I want to say, is today Najee Marshall's birthday? I think it is. NBA birthdays today. Let me look at something real quick. Yeah, it is. Today is Najee Marshall's birthday. He has a game time decision at this moment, though, so maybe there's Najee Marshall birthday narrative here. Maybe he looks to have himself a good day on his birthday. But anyway, currently listed as a game time decision. So let's move on to the next game. 8:30 tip-off between the Washington Wizards and the Dallas Mavericks. Guys, Kendrick Nunn just got traded to the Washington Wizards. Obviously, Washington's going to be without Rui Hachimura, who is now a Los Angeles Laker. So the Lakers trying to make some moves, trying to surround LeBron James with some quality players. Kristaps Porzingis is already out for this game, so it's going to be Morris, Beal, Adija, Kuzma, and Gafford. Looks like your starting five for Washington. They're going to be taking on Dallas. No Christian Wood. He's dealing with a broken thumb. Maxi Kleber also out for the Dallas Mavericks. So we got a little bit of a revenge narrative here. Obviously, once upon a time, Spencer Dinwiddie was a member of the Washington Wizards. So I'm sure there's going to be some Spencer Dinwiddie love. If you guys remember, he did not leave on the best of terms with the Washington Wizards. In fact, it sounded like his teammates were kind of like turning against him for whatever reason. They were kind of like, hey, pushing this guy out the door. We want to get rid of this guy. So we'll see what Spencer Dinwiddie does tonight against the Washington Wizards and Bradley Beal. But 225.5 points with a 7.5 point spread. Moving on to the next game, we got Charlotte at Phoenix. Guys, Chris Paul. Sounds like his time might be coming to an end here. Sounds like the sun might be setting on Chris Paul in his tenure here with the Phoenix Suns. They're already kind of looking toward the future, and how could you blame him, right? Chris Paul's been in the league forever. He is a long tenured veteran. So they're looking at the likes of guys like Fred VanVleet, Terry Rozier. Well, it just so happens they're going to get an up close and personal look at Terry Rozier tonight as the Charlotte Hornets are visiting the Phoenix Suns. Keep an eye on LaMelo Ball. He's listed as a game time decision. Martin, also a game time decision. Kelly Oubre still out, so no Kelly Oubre revenge game against his former team, the Phoenix Suns, unfortunately. And then on the Suns side, DeAndre Ayton, Devin Booker, Jay Crowder, Cam Payne, and Landry Shamet all ruled out. So you're going to see the likes of Bismack Biyombo, Cam Johnson, Torrey Craig, Mikal Bridges, who's been playing some good basketball lately, forced to step into a larger role as far as scoring and offense and so forth. And then Chris Paul, who will be at the point guard for you. And Gordon Hayward. Yeah, Gordon Hayward's back for Charlotte as well. And then finally, last but not least, the battle for LA. We got a fun game here between the Los Angeles Clippers and the Los Angeles Lakers. Out for LAC is Luke Kennard and John Wall. Neither one of those guys are going to play tonight. Clippers are talking about Fred VanVleet as well. Everybody wants a little piece of Fred VanVleet. They've said the Orlando Magic might be interested in Fred VanVleet. Clippers are also looking at my guy BBL. That's Big Booty Lowry, in case you guys didn't know. They're interested in some Kyle Lowry. I guess Kawhi Leonard wants to put together the Raptors team that he won a championship with by getting a guy like Fred VanVleet or Kyle Lowry. But nonetheless, Luke Kennard, John Wall, both out. Paul George is expected to play. Kawhi Leonard is expected to play. And then you got Ivica Zubac. Once upon a time, he was a Los Angeles Laker. So maybe we get a little bit of Ivica Zubac revenge tonight. All right. He's a first half play for me only. I won't go crazy with any full game props for Zubac, but Zubac first half, as long as he stays out of foul trouble, the guy should be in pretty good shape going against Thomas Bryant in this weak Los Angeles Lakers front court. LBJ, LeBron James, he's a game time decision, but I would be surprised if he does not play tonight in this marquee matchup against Kawhi and PG. I expect LeBron to be out there. Anthony Davis getting closer and closer to making his return. He's still out tonight. Rui Hachimura not ready to make his Lakers debut. He's going to be out. Austin Reeves out. Lonnie Walker also out. So it's going to be the same group of five here that we've been seeing, except for Kendrick Nunn won't be in the mix. So Schroeder, Beverly, Brown, LeBron, and Thomas Bryant. And then you'll get Russell Westbrook off the bench and Wenyen Gabriel and some of those other guys. But 230 points with a 5-point spread should be a fun game. I believe that one is on TNT tonight, and it will follow the Boston-Miami game, I want to say. But that's your breakdown, man. That is the rundown. That is the scoop on today's NBA slate. So I'm ready to start tackling some of your questions. Again, I know you guys are going to have way more questions than one guy like myself can answer. If you have something that is an urgent question, something that is a pressing matter, something that you must have an answer to, I'm going to recommend and suggest that you consider using Super Chat. Super Chat highlights your comment for the world to see, for me to see, and it guarantees you that I'll see it, that I'll get to it and answer it for you. I'm willing to go deep. I'm talking deep on the research for your Super Chat questions. I want to make it worth your money, obviously. So consider using Super Chat if you have a question that, again, really needs to be answered. So let's go split screen here. We're going to break this off. We've got PrizePicks on one side. We've got Taco Tuesday on the other. Has anyone tried this yet? Can we confirm or deny? Are we able to use the Joe Burrow free square with a taco? Has anyone tried this combination yet? Let me know in the chat. I don't know if anybody has attempted to do this, but Joe Burrow obviously going to be a free square. He's going to pass for 1 yard. Are we able to combine that with a taco? I haven't tried it. If you have, and you've either gotten denied or it's worked, let me know. I want to know if you can combine the two, but Michael Porter Jr. officially ruled out. All right. Thanks for the news, guys. Thanks for keeping me up to speed and abreast. That's a good word. Thanks for keeping me abreast on the latest NBA news. Yeah, Tatum sold a lot of people yesterday. Absolutely. They took 2 rebounds and assists away from Tatum. Sheesh. Well, that's a really, really bad beat then. Donovan Mitchell taco. All right. You guys want to talk about the taco first and foremost? Let's do it. Let's do that. Javon saying, no, we cannot combine the free square with the taco. Well, nonetheless, guys, in case you haven't heard, PrizePicks is running a Joe Burrow free square right now. So make sure you take advantage of that. I don't know what's going on here. There we go. Joe Burrow free square. He's sitting at 0.5 passing yards. Obviously, the only way Joe Burrow doesn't go for more than 0.5 passing yards if some freak accident occurs. Like he goes to hand the ball off to Joe Mixon, blows out his knee or something crazy, and doesn't attempt a single pass. It would take some act of God, basically, to keep Joe Burrow under 0.5 passing yards, right? So, yeah, definitely take advantage of the free square. You cannot combine it with the tacos. For those of you who are wondering, we got our answer. Thank you for Javon Howard for providing that information for us. So you guys want to tackle this taco, and I don't blame you. Donovan Mitchell's taking on the New York Knicks tonight. The last 2 times we saw Donovan Mitchell out on the basketball court, 14 points and 11 points against Minnesota and against New Orleans. So it's looking a little shaky, right? He's coming off of 2 bad games. Plus, on top of that, we haven't seen him out on a basketball court in about a week. We go back and look at some of these prior games, though. 26 against Portland. Obviously, 46 against his former team, the Utah Jazz. 22 against Phoenix. I mean, at first sight, it's like a no-brainer, right? Donovan Mitchell, of course he's going to go over 21.5 points. But, you guys are asking about it, so let's take a closer look at it. I'm going to refresh here. I'm going to be using props.cash. You're going to see me use props.cash a lot throughout the show, throughout the stream. If you want to get your hands on the tools that props.cash provides, if you've never used props.cash before, 25% off your first month when you use code Curry. Again, I've left a link for you down in the description of today's video. If you want to check out props.cash for yourself, highly recommend it. It's fun to poke around here, see what these guys have been doing, what their hit rates are, what happens when certain guys are in or out of the lineup. I mean, props.cash really has you covered for everything that you can imagine. So first and foremost, let's filter this out. I want to look at Cleveland versus New York. We're already on the points. We're going to click Donovan Mitchell's name here, and we're going to take a look at what he's done at 21.5 points this season. Now, his line by default on props.cash is 26.5. Now, at 26.5, 23 for 40, or a 57% hit rate. But we're not looking at 26.5. We want to see the discount. So using this little slider here at the bottom of props.cash, you can bring it all the way down to 21.5. All right? 30 for 40 this season. 75% hit rate. Now, he came out of the gates this season pretty damn strong here. He had only missed this prop 4 times in like his first 25 to 30 games. But his last 10 games or so, you've definitely started to see more red start to creep in. So let's bump him down to 21.5. Last 10 games, he's 5 for 10, 50% hit rate. Of course, he had that huge nuke that he dropped on the Chicago Bulls. I'm talking about the 71-point game back on January 2nd. 46 against Utah, we mentioned that. He's had some games where he's just barely squeaked over 21.5. I'm talking 22 against Phoenix, 26 against Portland, healthy number there, 28 against Indiana. So 5 out of his last 10, right? Tonight he's taking on the Knicks, a team that he's already faced twice this season. The Knicks defensively, they could be hit or miss. Sometimes they're pretty staunch. Sometimes they're pretty stout. Other times, not so much. But Donovan Mitchell here, 2 for 2 this season going up against the New York Knicks. 38 points back in October. We're talking October 30th at the start of the season. More recently, December 4th, he still had 23 points. So he barely got over 21.5. But nonetheless, we got 2 green beans here in his game logs against the New York Knicks. So 38 and 23, 2 for 2 against New York. Now, I want to remind you guys that these tacos are in no way, shape, or form supposed to be like Joe Burrow at 0.5 passing yards, which is a free square. These tacos are not free. Tacos are not a free square. They've been good lately, though. They have been a lot better lately than they have been in the past. What I want to also look at is the split situation here. I like looking at that. I like to see if a guy like Donovan Mitchell's better scoring on the road, or is he better scoring at home. Tonight he is on the road in Madison Square Garden against the New York Knicks. So let's take a look at that real quick. So first and foremost, 28.4 points per game this season. At home, 28.7 points per game. All right. And his away splits, 28.1. So he's not really a major splits guy, meaning he's not scoring a whole lot more on the road or at home. Pretty much, a pretty good score no matter where he's at, right? Donovan Mitchell on the road this season, though. Something worth noting, worth pointing out here. Very good hit rates at 21.5 points. My guy has gone 17 for 21. That's an 85% hit rate while averaging 28.1 points per game on the road. So he's only missed this prop 3 times playing away from Cleveland. 3 times playing away from Cleveland. He's hit this in 3 out of his last 4. He's hit this in 7 of his last 9. So, you probably just got to roll with it, right? You just got to roll with it. It looks like a great situation. Hopefully Donovan Mitchell comes out and he's ready to get some buckets for you tonight. Let me get you a projection, though, and then we'll wrap this Donovan Mitchell taco situation up. I got him projected for 25.4 points today. 25.4, obviously more than 21.5. We take a look at where he's at on some sports books today. All the sports books have him at 26.5. Some of them have him at 27.5. So when you're getting somebody at a 5 to 6 point discount like Donovan Mitchell, you roll with it. You just roll with it. You hope for the best. Again, Donovan Mitchell has been an outstanding scorer this season. Even better on the road, only missing this 21.5 number in his 3 games. 3 games on the road this season he's missed. So there you go, guys. You hope for the best. You can also do what some people like to do, and they take Donovan Mitchell's original point prop, which is 26.5 under. So that could be another method. You could take the taco over in one entry, and then you can make another entry, and you could take the original point line under if you feel like maybe he's gonna stay under 26.5, which could very well be the case tonight. So that could be an option for you as well. You can kind of hedge your bets, so to speak. And sometimes, a lot of the times, both of these will hit. The taco will hit for the over, and then the original point prop will hit for the under. There's been a lot of situations where both things are true. The over on the taco, the under on the original line. So there you go. That's an option for you. All right. What other questions do you guys have? Let's go ahead and get to them. That's your little rundown, your breakdown about the Donovan Mitchell taco. Corby's asking about Miles Turner or Buddy Hield, or maybe Miles Turner for points. I can't trust Miles Turner right now. He's another one of those guys whose name has been constantly dangled in trade talks, trade rumors, even going back to last season. So for me, I don't trust Miles Turner's minutes a whole lot. Rick Carlisle's kind of a crazy coach when it comes to getting his bigs minutes. He's talked about recently getting Isaiah Jackson some more minutes, getting... what's his name? Smith? I'm drawing a blank. The guy they got from Phoenix. Smith, right? Isn't that his name? They want to get him more minutes. Jalen Smith. Is it Jalen Smith? Jalen Smith? I think that's right. Anyway, they want to get him more minutes. So he's talked about getting his backup guys more minutes and stuff. So I don't know. I'm just going to stay away from them. I think if they are looking to trade Miles Turner, they'll probably look to limit his minutes, protect their asset in the event that a trade does open up with a team like the Clippers, who have been rumored and linked to Miles Turner, a team like the Toronto Raptors, who have been linked to Miles Turner. So for me, I'm just going to probably stay away from a guy like Turner. All right, Carson coming through with a super chat. Carson, I appreciate the super chat. Thank you so much for supporting free content by using that super chat function. He's got a couple of props that he's looking at here. He's looking at Bam Adebayo for stocks, steals, and blocks for those of you who aren't up on the lingo. Donovan Mitchell for rebounds over, and he's looking at Paul George. I'm guessing he's going to go over on Paul George points. So I'm assuming you're talking about Bam's stocks, Paul George points, and Donovan Mitchell's rebounds all over. All right, let's go find these here on PrizePicks and help our friend Carson out, who went out of his way to leave a super chat. Again, always appreciated, never expected. Thank you again for the super chat. So Donovan Mitchell over rebounds was one of your plays. You also liked Paul George taking on the Los Angeles Lakers tonight, over points at 22.5. And then the other one you mentioned was Bam Adebayo. Bam. For more than how many steals and blocks? 1.5? All right, I can get on board with that. So we got Donovan Mitchell versus the Knicks for more than 3.5 rebounds. Paul George versus the Lakers for more than 22.5 points. We got Bam Adebayo for more than 1.5 blocks and steals versus the Boston Celtics, who again are on a back-to-back. Let's start things off by looking at Donovan Mitchell. Since we've already got Mitchell's points logs pulled up, we can just switch over using PropStatCash to take a look at his rebound statistics. Mitchell sitting at 3.5 boards. Just for another visual reference here, there's his last 5 games provided to you by PrizePicks. 3.2 rebounds per game in his last 5 games. Sitting at 3.5 today, but we want to see more than just the last 5 games, which is where PropStatCash kind of helps us out, right? Overall, this season, at 3.5 boards, he's 22 for 40. That's a 55% hit rate. So more often than not, he tends to have 4 or more rebounds. 55%, not super strong. I prefer like 60 or above, 70. You're really talking about some elite hit rates at 70% or above. But Mitchell sitting at 55% this season. What about when he plays the New York Knicks? Something that he's done twice already this year. He has gone over in one game, under in the next. So 3 rebounds back in October, 4 rebounds more recently here at the beginning of December, end of the year, beginning of December 4th. So 3 rebounds and 4 rebounds. He's a 50% hitter against the New York Knicks this season. Speaking of, let's take a look at the splits. At home, he's averaging 3.7 rebounds per game. That's good for a 55% hit rate. 11 out of 20 games, he has found 4 or more rebounds. So decent, right? Kind of lines up with his full overall hit rate of 55%. Maybe he hits at a higher rate on the road, though. Maybe he rebounds better when he plays away from Cleveland. Let's look at that. 4.1 rebounds per game on the road this season. So he has found more rebounds playing away from Cleveland than he has when he plays at Cleveland, at home. Still, though, 55% hit rate no matter which way you slice it. Home splits, road splits, overall 55%, 11 for 20 on the road. He did hit, though. He did hit. Worth noting, the game that he hit against the Knicks, he did hit when he played at New York. All right, so he's 1 for 1 against New York when playing in New York with 4 rebounds. Barely got over the hump there. So there you go. Donovan Mitchell, not the greatest hit rates in the world. Not a significant difference when he rebounds at home versus when he rebounds on the road. So let's get you a projection here. We got Mitchell's points already pulled up again. If you guys are just getting here, Mitchell projected for 25.4 points. So this could be one of those take the taco over, take the original line under type of situations for Mitchell today. Or, he could just explode for like 30 points and drop a bomb like he's known to do. But anyway, his rebounds at 3.7 projected rebounds. That's closer to 4 boards than 3. And then we take a look at where his line is at 3.5 boards across the industry today. He is at 3.5. No matter where you go and look at this prop, slight betting favorite, not a ton of juice on the over, -120, -115. So there you go. Donovan Mitchell's rebounds. Probably not going to be a play that I personally going to take today. I'm probably just going to play the taco. Maybe I play the under on his original points line. I think those are my favorite options for Donovan Mitchell. So this one, it's going to be a fade. But you also have 2 other picks here loaded up. Paul George at 22.5 points. Paul George has been kind of an interesting situation lately. His minutes, somewhat limited, right? We've seen him sort of not perform up to par lately. He's kind of warming up, working his way back into the lineup. We've seen Paul George go under his points line in 4 straight games. The last time that he hit this was back on January 2nd, 25 against a tough Miami Heat defense. Since then, 3 against Denver. Whew. PG with only 3 points. That's terrible. He lived up to his name against the Philadelphia 76ers. PG 13 with 13 points against Philly, 16 against San Antonio, and then finally 21 against Dallas. So in his last 4 games, you've seen his points output progressively get higher and higher, right? From 3 to 13 to 16, and then finally 21 against Dallas. Maybe he goes and reaches a new tier tonight when it comes to scoring. Let's take a look at it a little bit closer here. Again, it's all really going to boil down to the minutes for Paul George and really for anybody, right? The more that these guys are out there running around on the court, the better it is for our player props to hit, especially if we're looking to take some overs, which I think Carson, you are looking to take the over in this particular matchup here. So LeBron and the Lakers taking on the Los Angeles Clippers, battle for LA. Let's see what Paul George has done here at 22.5 points this season. 16 for 33. That's a sub 50% hit rate for Paul George. So not only is he 0 for his last 4, but he's 16 for 33, just a 48% hit rate. That's not so good, right? Last 10 games, 22.4 points per game. Obviously, the last 5 have been really bad, 15.6 points per game. He has played the Lakers a couple of times already this season, so we could take a look at those game logs. 15 against LA, and then he comes back with a strong 29-point performance against the Lakers just about a month later. This was in November. So he hasn't played them since November, but he's 1 for 2 this season, covering this 22.5 point number. Let's take a look at his split situation. When he plays at home, which tonight, I mean, both of these teams play in the same arena. I don't know that it's going to make much of a difference. But when he plays at home, 22.5 points, he's 6 for 14, 43% hit rate. When he plays away, 10 for 19, 53% hit rate. So his away rates are a little bit higher. But again, this is a unique circumstance where these guys share an arena. So this away game is really kind of like, a home game. So I would look more at his home splits, in which he's averaged 22.2 points per game with a 6 for 14 hit rate, just a 43% hit rate playing in LA. Okay. In the, what are they calling it now? The crypto, it's not the Staples Center anymore, whatever they're calling it now, the cryptocurrency arena. All right. That's his hit rate. So it's been a little struggle for Paul George at home, little struggle for him lately, little struggle this season, covering 22.5 points, but it is the Lakers, right? It is the Lakers. So let's get you a projection on this prop here. We're going to use our projection tools, which are provided by Fantasy Labs and Action Labs. Paul George, got him projected for 21.9 points. That's slightly less than 22.5. We take a look at where he's at on various sports books. He's at 22.5 on sites like DraftKings and BetMGM. PointsBet and FanDuel have him at 23.5. At 22.5, you are seeing a little bit of juice on the over. But at 23.5, we're seeing resistance there. Folks taking the under at 23.5. So between 22.5 and 23.5, you're looking at about 23 points, right? That's what you would be at if you kind of split the difference between those two lines. So he's projected for 21.9. Could be anywhere from 22 to 24 tonight. Just depends on how many minutes Paul George gets. So for me, he's going to be kind of in the same bucket or basket as like a Bradley Beal, who's also coming back from a long layoff. We just haven't seen these guys get a ton of minutes, as many minutes as we would like. Now, they are ramping up. Obviously, Paul George is starting to trend in the right direction when it comes to getting buckets. You could even do something like this with props.cash. You could go and look at his last 5 games and get an idea of how his minutes are starting to ramp up. Just 13.7 against Denver, right? Comes back with 29 against the Philadelphia 76ers, 31.6 against San Antonio, and then we see him reach a 4-game high of 34.2 minutes. So we're starting to see the minutes ramp up for Paul George. So if he's able to play over 34 minutes against Dallas, maybe we can expect about 36 tonight against the rival team, the Los Angeles Lakers. So there you go. But for me, I'm probably going to take the wait and see on Paul George. I think there's better options out there, but if he has a big game, I wouldn't be surprised. He is one of the best in the league. So there's PG-13 for you. And then let's look at the blocks and steals that you asked about with Bam Bam. Mr. Bam Adebayo taking on the Boston Celtics today. 1.5 blocks and steals. So he needs to come away with at least 1 swat and 1 swipe. Can Bam Adebayo do it? Absolutely. He can do it. He can do it. Let's go take a look at these game logs real quick. Boston versus Miami. Clicking on Bam Adebayo, we want to change the player prop category from points to steals and blocks. Props.cash, really making it easy to do your research. Again, definitely check them out and get that discount, 25% off your first month if you're looking for something to help you with your research. All right. So we scroll down here, we got this lovely little graph provided by props.cash. You see Bam Adebayo this season, 24 for 43, which is a 56% hit rate. Now that sounds pretty decent. Now where it really starts to get good is over the last like 10 to 15 games here. We'll look at the last 10. Last 10, he is 8 for 10. That's an 80% hit rate. In that 10-game span, 2.7 blocks and steals and blocks, or stocks, whatever you want to call them. 2.7 in that span. He's at 1.5 today. He's averaging 2.7 in his last 10. So that bodes well here for Bam Adebayo. Another thing we can look at is his matchups against the Boston Celtics. Guys, he's 3 for 3 against the guys in green, the Boston Celtics this season. 2 stocks in each and every matchup that he's had against Boston. So that absolutely looks good. Heck, we could even take a little snapshot, a flashback to last season and previous seasons, previous games against Boston. Played them 13 times in the last 2 seasons. That's quite a sample size, quite a lot of game logs versus this opponent, this Boston Celtics team. So 8 for 13, 62% hit rate. More often than not, he does tend to find 2 steals and or blocks. So doing very well against this Boston Celtics squad. Now, splits information on something like steals and blocks probably doesn't matter a whole lot, but let's just look at him. When he's at home, 1.5 stocks. He's hit this in 4 out of his last 5 games at home, so that's an 80% hit rate in that 5-game span. When he's on the road, 2.4. Hitting this in 5 out of his last 6 games played on the road. Like I said, splits information on something like steals and blocks probably doesn't matter a whole lot. It's a little different when you're shooting on a different basket in a different arena than it is when you're looking to steal and block shots, right? So splits information on something like stocks probably take that with a grain of salt. But I do have a projection for you, which will wrap this up. Again, thank you for the super chats, guys. Again, I can't get to everybody's questions, but super chats really help support the show, help support the channel, and support free content, and that highlights your comment like it did here for Carson. So I'm going to get to as many of these super chats as I can. And guys, keep them coming if you have more questions. But Bam Adebayo, 1.9 steals and blocks projection. That's good for almost 2. That's better than, being closer to 1, right? So 1.9, almost 2 steals and blocks, like that projection for him. I'm only seeing a line for this on BetMGM right now using this tool provided by Action Labs. But BetMGM has him as a -125 betting favorite to record 2 stocks. So 3 for 3 against Boston this season. Gotta love that. He's been hitting at a very high hit rate in his last 10 games. And projected well, got some juice on the over. This would probably be my favorite one out of the 3 that you mentioned today, Carson. So feel good about it. I think you can't do much more than what we've done as far as researching that. I think it looks like a decent play. All right, you left another super chat. My goodness, buddy. Appreciate you. Appreciate you, Carson. He's also asking us about some Bradley Beal rebounds, Luka Doncic assists, and Kyle Kuzma for some 3-point makes. All right. So as I kind of hinted to earlier, Bradley Beal's going to be that guy where hopefully Bradley Beal's playing some significant minutes tonight. He's at 4 rebounds. So you're liking Bradley Beal to collect at least 4 boards. You're also looking at a guy like Luka Doncic. Luka, where are you at, Luka? Luka's assists at 8.5. You're wanting to take the under on Luka Doncic's assists, if I got that right, hopefully. And then on the other side of that game, you're looking at Kyle Kuzma to knock down at least 3 threes. All right. Right? So we got the over on Kuzma's 3-point makes, the under on Luka Doncic's assists, and we've got the over for Bradley Beal's rebounds. So let's start with the rebounds and Mr. Bradley Beal. We talked about him. He had himself a long little layoff there for the Washington Wizards, but he's back out on the floor. He's out there getting more and more minutes. So again, his question really is going to be, how much is Washington going to push him and play him tonight? There's no Kristaps Porzingis tonight, no Rui Hachimura. Both of those guys out for different reasons. Porzingis obviously has an injury. Hachimura obviously has been traded to the Lakers. So they're going to be running a little thin. So it's almost like a situation where Beal's going to have to play more minutes, it seems like, right? Like he would have to play more minutes with 2 big pieces of the Wizards rotation out tonight. So let's take a look at Bradley Beal real quick. At 3, I'm going to bump him down to 3.5 rebounds just to better illustrate how he's done with his rebounding. Because when you use 4 kind of like excludes some of the games here. So I like to bump it down to 3.5. So this is going to tell us how many games he's had at least 4 rebounds or more. At least 4 or more. So I've set his line at 3.5, 4 or more rebounds in 15 out of 26 games. That's a 58% hit rate, meaning he's collecting at least 4 boards or more in most of the games that he's played. The majority of the games that he's played, he's collected at least 4 or more boards. But what I want to see is when Kristaps Porzingis is out, does this average of 3.5 rebounds go up or down without KP6 in the lineup? So let's do that real quick, and we can do that thanks to props.cash. So we're going to take Kristaps Porzingis out. When we do that, now this is pulling in information from last season as well. 4.8 rebounds in 24 out of 40 games played without Kristaps Porzingis. But I'm not so concerned with last season. I mean, we could look at like the last 30 or like last 10 games. Yeah, these were all pre-Porzingis, so that's important to note. So Porzingis joined the team. Obviously, he was acquired in a trade. This is a not a good sample of data here. So cross that out. We're only worried about this season. So he's had 6 boards against Phoenix without Porzingis, December 20th, 5 rebounds without Porzingis. That was against the Utah Jazz. That was 12-22. So there was 2 games there without KP6 where Beal collected 6 and 5 boards respectively. All right. So he's 2 for 2 this season, covering his rebounds without Kristaps Porzingis in the mix. What about Dallas? Has he played Dallas this season? He has not. No games against the Dallas Mavericks this season. If you flash back to last season, he did collect 5 rebounds against Dallas. Again, that was without Porzingis, I think. I think that was without Porzingis. So, yeah, that's about the best you can do there, man. 2 for 2 this season without Porzingis, but not crazy high hit rates on the rebounds, but decent. So it really all comes down to the minutes for me. And let's just look at those last 5 games real quick for Bradley Beal. So he was out from January 3rd, and then he made his return in January 18th. So he's really got 2 games under his belt. In those last 2 games, we've seen him pull in 28.7 minutes, 27.8 minutes. So I wish we knew for sure how many minutes he was going to get tonight, but it's always a guessing game. If he gets 30 plus minutes tonight, then yeah, maybe he's got a real chance at collecting at least 4 boards against the Mavericks, right? 28.7 minutes though, and 27.8 minutes in his last 2 games. Not great. So I'm not sure if they're ready to ramp him up yet. I'm not sure if they're ready to let him run wild and give him a full run of minutes. He is on a 2-day rest. I can tell you this season, 3.5 rebounds. He's collected 4 or more rebounds in 2 out of 2 games when he comes off of 2 days of rest. So Bradley Beal likes his rest. It's just another angle, just another way to look at this. So let's get you a projection here on Bradley Beal real quick. I got him projected for 5.1 rebounds. He's at 4 on PrizePicks. So just based on the projection alone, I would say maybe lean toward the over. He's 2 for 2 without Porzingis, projected for 5.1. If he gets 30 plus minutes, he should have a chance to get you at least 4 boards. He's at 4.5 boards on DraftKings and BetMGM. Huge betting favorite to stay under in both of those sites. So minus 155 odds under, minus 160 odds under. So that is why PrizePicks is kind of taking the position at 4 rebounds that they have. Also want to mention at 3.5 rebounds on a site like FanDuel and PointsBet, he's a big betting favorite to go over that number. So PrizePicks said, hey, we're not going to play these games. We're not going to list him at 3.5. We're not going to list him at 4.5. There's too much juice coming in on the under and over at those numbers. We're going to list him at a number that's somewhere in between, which is 4 rebounds. So I would play the over. I would not be surprised if he ends up in a tie or push, landing on exactly 4 rebounds. All right. But I don't hate that. I don't hate that at all. Luka Doncic was another one that you mentioned. You like the under on his assist tonight. Doncic, of course, will be taking on the Washington Wizards. Everyone's ramping this one up as the Spencer Dinwiddie revenge game. They've already played Washington once this season, I believe. So they're going to be playing them again tonight. Luka has gone under his assist number in 3 straight games. Let's just take a closer look at this using props.cash for my guy Carson. Thank you, Carson, for the super chats. So this season, Luka at 8.5 dimes, 23 for 43. That's a 53% hit rate. That is slightly better than a coin flip, meaning he's going over 8.5 assists a little more often than he's going under, which is what you want to see if you're looking to take the over. Maybe not what you want to see if you're looking to take the under here. So 8.7 for the season, 7.9 assists per game in his last 10. So that's less than 8.5, which is the way that Carson's thinking about going on Luka's assist prop. 8.4 in his last 5. That is still less than 8.5. And he only had 6 assists versus Washington in their only matchup this season. So 0 for 1 against the Wizards, dropping just 6 dimes. Did he play a full run of minutes in that game? Yeah, 39.2 minutes. I would say that's pretty full. All right, so he had a healthy amount of minutes, 39.2 minutes, and managed to stay under 8.5 assists in that game. So, yeah, under against Washington this season, and he's 1 for 1 going under. What about like road and home splits? On the season, 8.7. At home, 8.3. So that's a 12 for 24 or 50% hit rate when he's at home. He's at home tonight. And then on the road, he averages more assists at 9.1, 11 for 19. That's a 58% hit rate. So you are catching him in a positive split situation, right? He averages less assists at home than he does on the road. He's missed this in his last 3 home games, and he's missed this in his last 4 out of 5. So I can see why you're leaning toward the under on Luka Doncic here. All right, skipping ahead, we're going to get you a projection on this particular prop, again, using the Action Labs and Fantasy Labs projection tools. Projected for 8 dimes. That's less than 8.5. I will tell you this, though, my friend. If you decide to take the under on Luka Doncic here, you would be going against the odds. The odds would not be in your favor. Why is that? Well, he is a betting favorite to go over on sites like DraftKings, FanDuel, BetMGM, and PointsBet. Anywhere from minus 135 odds to minus 140 odds to go over 8.5 assists. So that means bettors like you and I are going out there, they're slapping their money down. They think Luka Doncic is going to go for 9 or more dimes tonight. So they're going against this projection here. They're going against the fact that he's 0 for his last 3. They're going against the fact that he does not assist as much at home as he does on the road. So maybe they know something we don't. But there you go. For me, that's going to be a fade, though. I'm going to fade Luka Doncic. Which brings me to the last pick. Kyle Kuzma. No Kristaps Porzingis tonight. No Rui Hachimura tonight. Kyle Kuzma, 4 out of his last 4, 2.5 3-point makes. So that's an 80% hit rate in his last 5 games. But we need to look beyond the last 5. We want to know what he's done in the last, 10 games, 30 games. And that's where props.cash has us covered here. All right, 21 for 45, 47% hit rate at 2.5 3-point makes. So that means that more often than not this season, he stays under 2.5 3-point makes. But lately, he's been taking and he's been making a lot more threes. He's hit this in 4 out of his last 5. When we look at the last 10 games, he's hit the over in 5 out of his last 6. And 6 out of his last 10 games overall, which is a 60% hit rate, averaging 2.7 3-point makes per game in that span. Now, we mentioned he's already taken on the Dallas Mavericks once this season. He's 1 for 1 against Dallas. Pretty surprising, draining 5 triples against the Mavericks in that game. This game took place in Washington. Tonight's game will take place in Dallas. So let's do our due diligence here. Let's take a look at the splits situation for Kyle Kuzma. We want to know, does he make more threes when he's at home playing in Washington? Or does he make more threes when he's on the road playing in an arena like Dallas? Well, let's find out. At home, 2.9. Which can only mean one thing. He's not making as many threes on the road this season. Let's go look at it. 2.3 3-point makes when he plays on the road, which is, again, the situation that he finds himself in tonight, playing on the road in Dallas. He is 8 for 23 on the season, 35% hit rate playing on the road. He's only hit this in two of his last 5 road games, for what it's worth. Okay, so we've explored the overall hit rates. We've explored how he hits at home versus how he hits on the road. We've explored how he's done against Dallas this season, going 1 for 1, making 5 threes. The only thing really left to do is take a look at how he performs without Kristaps Porzingis. So let's do that now. We could take Porzingis off the floor like we did for Bradley Beal and his rebounds. And when we do that, we see that Porzingis has played a total of, Kyle Kuzma has played a total of 5 games without Porzingis. And in those 5 games from this season, he is 3 for 5. That's a 60% hit rate. One of those games, coincidentally, was against tonight's opponent, the Dallas Mavericks. But again, that game was not on the road. Tonight's game will be on the road. So you could take your split situation a step further. We got Porzingis off the floor, 5 games played without Porzingis. We know that. Well, what about the games that he's played without Porzingis that are on the road? These, I think, were post-Porzingis trade, so that's kind of relevant information. I believe those dates, 2/26 and 3/12, were after the trade deadline. So this is 2 games from last season. He was 2 for 2 on the road without Porzingis. And then we take a look at the 3 games that he's played this season on the road without KP6. 4 threes made, 5 threes made, and 2 against Utah. And you can look at something like his attempts. He's attempting 11, 8, 8, 10, and 5 3-point attempts in those games. But he'll probably have his hands full tonight. Dorian Finney-Smith on defense. Maybe he draws the assignment. Maybe they put Dorian Finney-Smith on Bradley Beal. I don't know how they're going to match up, quite frankly. Maybe they put Spencer Dinwiddie on Bradley Beal. That could be a situation, a matchup that they run out there. But I'm not sure how they're going to match up tonight. But Dorian Finney-Smith is a very good defender. Very good defender. So I could see him possibly giving Kyle Kuzma some problems tonight if that's the way that they tend to match up. But nonetheless, let's get you a projection on this, and we'll keep the things rolling here. Kyle Kuzma, we need at least 3 threes if we're thinking about taking the over. I have him projected for 3 3-point makes. And we take a look at where he's at on these sports books here. Some big juice coming in on the over on Kuzma's 3-point makes. -135 all the way up to -155 on some of these other sports books. So pretty good odds on the over here. I would say take a shot on the over. Probably wouldn't be a prop that I would go too heavy on, but throw it in a flex type of thing. Maybe stay away from powering it. So, yeah, I think the way that I would rank these 3 props for me, I don't know. It's going to be tough. Give me Kuzma over 3s. Bradley Beal's a big question mark. If his minutes are there, I think he can get us at least 4 boards. Give me Bradley Beal next, and then Luka Doncic last. That's the way I would go with him. Kuzma, Beal, and Porzingis. Again, just a guess. We don't know nothing. Nobody knows anything. CPGA428, thank you for subscribing to the channel. Guys, we're on our way to 8,000 subscribers. If you're watching and you're not a subscriber yet, hit the subscribe button. It's also going to benefit you to be a subscriber because, as I mentioned earlier in the show, I'm giving away 2 pick power plays every single day to win $100 on PrizePicks. Today's winner was Bray Robert. Bray, thank you so much for being a subscriber, for commenting and liking. If you want to get your hands on one of these risk-free 2-pick power plays like Bray Robert, just be a subscriber, hit the like button, and once I end today's show, you're going to go to the comment section like Bray did, and you're going to comment one of your favorite picks, plays, or props of the day, okay? Maybe somebody sees it. Maybe they tell your favorite pick, prop, or play, and maybe it helps somebody out there win. That's what we're all trying to do here. We're just trying to help each other win a little bit more. So shout out to Bray. Bray, if you're watching, again, shoot me that DM. I want to get you set up with one of these risk-free 2-pick power plays on PrizePicks. I want to put $100 in your pocket, Bray. Help me help you. All right. Got some other questions coming in here. Number of different options. Wow. Carson coming through with another super chat. Before we get to Carson's super chat, Ryan T left us a super chat. He says, can you please look up Kuzma's points plus rebounds and Rozier's points plus rebounds? Fantastic. Yes, I can, Ryan. And Ryan, I want to say thank you again for the super chat. This is a guaranteed way that you get that one-on-one, personal, curated service here through super chat. So you're asking about Kuzma and Rozier's points plus rebounds. Let's start with Kuzma. Kuzma, obviously hot topic of discussion without Porzingis, without Rui Hachimura. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of people who flock who just simply flocked to Kyle Kuzma. So you're interested in his points and rebounds. I'm assuming you want to take the over, right? You didn't specify over or under, but by default, I just assume everybody's wanting to play the overs. And then you're looking at Terry Rozier for a points and rebounds prop. Okay. Rozier's not a guy that I typically flock to when it comes to points and rebounds, maybe like points and assists, but hey, you might have found yourself something here, my dude. So let's look at both of these, starting with the guy that you first mentioned, which was Kyle Kuzma. His points and rebounds today, obviously Porzingis being out should open up some more rebound and scoring chances and opportunities for a guy like Kyle Kuzma. Kuzma sitting at 32.5 points plus rebounds. Let's head back to props.cash. We've already got this game pulled up, so this should be easy peasy lemon squeezy for Kyle Kuzma. So let's go look at him. Taking a look at games from this season, just an overall view of his hit rate at 32.5. At 32.5 points and rebounds this season, 14 for 45, that's a 31% hit rate. Now, Kristaps Porzingis was in for a big part of those games. So obviously, with his absence, without him being in the lineup, that's definitely going to increase the shot attempts, the rebound chances for Kyle Kuzma. So 14 out of 45, 31%. Let's take a look at something like how he's done against Dallas this season. Well, we know based on our previous research for the three-point makes that Porzingis was out for this game against Dallas. He was out for this game. And in that game, my guy Kyle Kuzma smashed his points, smashed his rebounds of 32.5 with 47. Had a 47 monster game against the same opponent tonight, the Dallas Mavericks. 47 points and rebounds for Kuzma. This game, again, was played without Kristaps Porzingis. What about the other games without KP6? Let's pull them out. To Porzingis, take him off the floor. Let's look at the last 5 games, I think we said. All right. So this season, 5-game sample size. All these games were without Kristaps Porzingis. My guy Kyle Kuzma is 2 for 5, 40% hit rate, which is good for a 31.8 points plus rebound per game average. Had the monster game against Dallas with 47. I need to know something. All right, it's bothering me here. Let me look at this game real quick. We're going to go to StatMuse real quick. Shout out to StatMuse. Totally free tool. StatMuse is great for doing some research, for searching up some things. Kyle Kuzma game logs versus Mavericks. I need to know who was in for that Mavericks squad. Was Dorian Finney-Smith in there? Who was guarding Kyle Kuzma? Because apparently nobody was. When the guy drops 36 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists, 1 steal, makes you kind of wonder who's out there playing defense, if anybody. So Dallas, wow, pretty much the same lineup we're probably going to see tonight. Luka Doncic, Spencer Dinwiddie, Dorian Finney-Smith, Reggie Bullock, and Dwight Powell. That is pretty much that same starting lineup we've seen in the last few games without Christian Wood in the starting lineup. The only difference that I'm seeing here is maybe Tim Hardaway Jr. is in that starting lineup for Reggie Bullock. TH Day, though, more of a scorer than he is a defender. But yeah, for the most part, this is going to be almost an apples to apples sort of matchup here for Kuzma. And you look at the Washington side, they had Kuzma, Denny, Kispert, Monty Morris, and Anthony Gill. So not only was Kristaps Porzingis out, but more importantly, Bradley Beal was also out for this game. Now that is huge. I did not know that. I thought it was just KP that was out. Both Beal and Porzingis were out for this game, so of course Kyle Kuzma had the green light. My guy shot the ball 26 times. 26 field goal attempts with no Beal and no Porzingis. Obviously, Beal will be playing tonight. There's still a question of how much will Beal play? How many minutes can we expect? Well, I'd say somewhere around 30 at least. No Hachimura. He played 26 minutes in that game. Hachimura's going to be in LA, obviously. So that's interesting. All right. So it's not quite apples to apples scenario situation tonight that he had in that last game. Beal will be back, but Hachimura will be out. No Porzingis in this game from the previous game. So interesting. Very interesting. But anyway, 2 for 5. It almost makes me want to like void this game out where he had the 47 points and rebounds, but he had 26, 35, 26, and 25 in those 4 other games where we know Kristaps Porzingis was out for those. So I'm not going to dig into each of those games and figure out, was Beal in for all? You guys can do that using StatMuse, but wanted to definitely look back at that game against Dallas when he had that big 47 points plus rebounds game. So that's kind of the situation for you. It's looking like a little bit of a tough line for Kyle Kuzma to hit. 14 for 45, 31%. Really not that great of hit rates with Kristaps Porzingis out of the lineup either. 2 for 5 is not like wonderful. It's not like he's 5 for 5 automatic. You know what I mean? So it'll be very, very interesting to see how things play out for the Wizards tonight. Let me get you a projection on this one, though. Points and rebounds for Kuzma. Got him projected here on Action Labs at 32.6. That's a barely an over. Barely an over at 32.5. And then you're seeing 33.5 on a lot of these sports books. They do have Kuzma a whole point and rebound higher than where you're going to get him at on PrizePicks. But at 33.5, he's a slight betting favorite to go under on all these books, all these sites here. I just think that we can do better. I think we could do better. There's going to be a lot of question marks with the Wizards tonight. How much will Beal play? What does Rui Hachimura not being in do to a guy like Kyle Kuzma's performance? Will the Wizards have enough firepower to even stay in this game against the Dallas Mavericks? Like, will Dallas blow them out is basically what I'm asking. I don't know. Too many question marks for my taste. But let's look at the other one that you mentioned, which was Terry Rozier's points and rebounds. He's at 26.5 tonight. We did mention that Phoenix is tied up in some rumors that maybe they're looking for a new guard to lead the way here, and maybe Terry Rozier is that guy. Well, he's at 26.5 points plus rebounds tonight. This is another team that we need to kind of take the wait and see approach on. I don't want you guys jumping into this and then somebody like LaMelo Ball ends up playing, and then obviously that screws stuff up here for a guy like Terry Rozier, right? We're waiting on news for LaMelo Ball. He's a game time decision. We're waiting on news for Martin as well. He's also a game time decision. Obviously, Gordon Hayward is now healthy, and he's back in the mix for Charlotte. So, if Ball plays tonight, you got Gordon Hayward back. It's going to take away from some Terry Rozier usage, right? It's going to take away from some of the upside that you would get when Terry Rozier's in there basically, by himself or without LaMelo Ball. So I'm a little bit worried about this one. Again, I'm going to say for you to probably wait and see, take the slow and steady approach. Let's see what happens with LaMelo Ball, but the total's 227. It's a decent total. Not sky high, not like 230, 240 or anything like that. 6.5 point spread, surprisingly, favoring a pretty beat and battered Phoenix Suns squad. But, Phoenix jumped out all over the Memphis Grizzlies the other night. So maybe they can do the same to Charlotte. Charlotte's on a back-to-back as well. So, but let's look at some of these game logs here for Terry Rozier. You're asking about it, so let's see if we can figure it out here. Let's try to solve the puzzle. He's 19 for 38 this season, 50% hit rate. So flip a coin type of situation here for Terry Rozier. 19 for 38, 50%. He's averaging 25.5 points plus rebounds. Obviously, that's less than the 26.5 that his line is set at today. So he's averaging less than what his line is at. He has hit this, though, in his last 3 games, so it's a little bit of a silver lining here. He dropped 28 against Houston. We know Houston's bad defensively. 37 against Atlanta. They could be a little bit hit or miss defensively. 28 against Utah. They're not great defensively either. So he's had some pretty cupcake, soft-style matchups here in his last 3 games. I wouldn't call those very difficult matchups by any means. So he'll probably be facing off against Chris Paul today. CP3, defensively, not the guy that he once was by any means. Last 10 games for Terry Rozier, 5 for 10, just a 50% hit rate, which kind of just falls in line with the 50% hit rate that he's been at all season long. All season long, right? No games against Phoenix this season. If we flash back to last season, he was 0 for 2 against the Suns, only posting 7 points and rebounds and 12 points and rebounds in those games. So, again, last season was last season. Take that with a grain of salt, but it is worth mentioning that his points and rebounds were absurdly low against Phoenix, just 7 and 12. Very, very bad games. I don't know what he was doing out there in that situation. Another thing we can look at is how he performs on 0 days rest. 0 days rest, also known as a back-to-back. He played last night against Utah. He's going to be playing tonight against Phoenix. So back-to-back situations this season. He is 2 for 3. You're looking at a 67% hit rate. Had 30 against Miami, 31 against Milwaukee, and then 22 against Golden State. So he's 2 for 3 in games where he's coming off of a game the previous night, a back-to-back 0 days rest spot here for Terry Rozier. So you may want to wait for the LaMelo Ball news. I think that's my approach. I'm not going to jump on this and take the over, and then LaMelo ends up playing, and then we're screwed, right? Because LaMelo's going to probably eat into the usage, the points and rebounds output for a guy like Terry Rozier. Looking at the home splits, games played at home this season, 24.5 points and rebounds. Games played on the road, he is averaging 26.5, which is his line tonight. He's hit the over on road games in 11 out of 19. That's a 58% hit rate. So better on the road than he is at home. So that is definitely something to consider. He's hit this in 3 straight road games. He's gone over in 4 out of his last 5 and 5 out of his last 7 at 26.5 points and rebounds. So last but not least, we're going to get you a projection here. Rozier projected for 25.3 points and rebounds. That's less than 26.5. We're seeing him at 26.5 on all sports books at this moment. Slight betting favorite at 26.5 on BetMGM and DraftKings. At 27.5, a betting favorite to go under. So yeah, listen to Mr. Curry here. Wait for LaMelo Ball news. But I don't know that I love either of these. Now they both might hit. They very well could hit. I'm just saying we've got a lot of games and a lot of different ways to go. I think we can do better. I hope we can do better. So anyway, that concludes that. Ryan, maybe like it, but don't love it. If you're gonna play them in a flex, man. Don't power those. I wouldn't power those. Carson's coming through with another super chat. He's mentioning Spencer Dinwiddie rebounds and CJ McCollum assists and Jalen Brunson assists. Whew. Let's see. Let me see. You got Dinwiddie rebounds on here. It's a Dinwiddie day, right? Dinwiddie day. You're wanting to take the over on that, Carson. And then you got CJ's assists. Was that CJ McCollum? CJ McCollum's assists going up against Denver tonight. I guess you're wanting to take the over on that as well. And then Jalen Brunson, Mr. New York Knick. He's going up against a tough little Cleveland Cavaliers squad. So maybe he doesn't score as many points. Maybe he's interested in dropping some dimes. So I'm guessing you're wanting to take overs on all 3 of these, right? Dinwiddie boards, McCollum assists, and Jalen Brunson's assists. So let's kick it off here by looking at these rebounds. All of these lines obviously have been bumped, which is why you're not seeing the 0.5 after them, meaning PrizePicks has either bumped them up or they've bumped them down. But in any case, yes, they've received the bump treatment here. Washington versus Dallas. We're going to look at the rebound category. Spencer Dinwiddie's rebounds. Let's go take a look. He's sitting at 3 boards today. I'm going to bump him down to 2.5 just to see how many times he's hit at least 3. 26 for 47 with at least 3 rebounds this season. 55% hit rate. He's really picked up the rebounds in his last several games. We look at the last 10 game view here. Bump him down to 2.5. You see he's hit at least 3 boards in 6 out of 10. That's a 60% hit rate. And he's already faced off against Washington once this season, recording 4 rebounds. 4 rebounds in that game against Washington. That was a road game against the Washington Wizards. Now, as somebody's mentioned in here, what happens when Christian Wood is out? Like Raymond Barbosa saying, no Christian Wood tonight. Well, we can use PropStat Cash to kind of help us with that. So we're going to take Christian Wood out meaning take him off the floor and look at games in which Dinwiddie has played without Wood. So he's got a total of 6 games. 6 games in which he's played without Christian Wood. He has hit 3 or more rebounds in 5 out of 6 of those games this season. Very good hit rates. 5 of 6 with at least 3 rebounds without Christian Wood. I like that. 5 out of 6. I rock with 5 out of 6. I think that looks pretty steady. And then we already mentioned what he's done against Washington. One of those games, in fact, was against Washington, where he had 4 rebounds without Kristaps Porzingis, his former team here. Spencer Dinwiddie playing with a little bit of extra added motivation, perhaps. So looking pretty good for Spencer Dinwiddie on these rebounds. Let's get you a projection on him, though, and see what the projection models say. They got him at 3.5 boards, which is more than 3, at 3.5 on your sports books. People are betting the under here. Minus 135. Big betting favorite to go under at minus 156 on FanDuel, minus 140 and minus 145 odds. For me, I'd probably say take the over. And at worst, maybe you end up with exactly 3 rebounds. That's a tie or a push. Your payout won't be quite as big, but you won't lose your money. You won't have a big fat 0. So I like that. I ain't mad at that. All right, outside of Dinwiddie, you got McCollum at 6 assists. Let's buzz through that one real quick. Appreciate that. Thanks for the sub, K-Woo. Appreciate you subbing to the channel. Let's take a look at McCollum here. We got McCollum sitting at 6 dimes. Now, this has been a guy who's been really inconsistent lately. Really been up and down, even though Zion Williamson, Brandon Ingram have been out for a lot of games here recently. CJ McCollum from game to game is so hard to figure out. He's been put on my fade list, personally. He has been put on my personal fade list because you just never know with this guy. When it comes to points or whatever, whatever prop you're trying to play for CJ McCollum, you just don't know what McCollum you're going to get from one game to the next, despite the fact that it seems like there would be more opportunities without Zion, more opportunities without BI. So at 5.5 assists, we're looking at how many times he's had at least 6 assists this season. 6 or more dimes in 23 out of 42 games. That's a 55% hit rate. But things, as I mentioned, have not been so great here over his last 10 games. When we bump him down to 5.5, he's had 6 or more dimes in just 5 out of 10 games. That's a 50% hit rate. But more importantly here, if you look at the last 6 games, he's only hit in 2 out of his last 6. So really, he's only exceeded 6 assists, meaning 7 or more in 2 out of his last 10 games. All right, so let's go back and look at those game logs again here. When we have him at 6.5, because we need 7 out of him. If we want to take the over here, we don't want to, take him and play for a push. We want to hit the over, right? How many times has he actually gone over 6 assists here? Only 1, 2 out of his last 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. He's 2 out of his last 14 at 7 or more assists. That's not great. That's terrible. Terrible. Anyway, one other thing that we could do here for you guys to kind of help you out, provide more information. That's what we're all about here, providing information and entertainment. So hopefully if you are being entertained or being informed, you'll consider subscribing. You'll smash that like button for me, and you'll spread the word and tell people about what we're doing here on these live streams each day. But let's go ahead and take a look at his games. We'll look at the last 30 view. How many times he's hit 7 or more assists without Brandon Ingram, without Zion Williamson? Well, the first 4 games without the 2 of those guys, he had 11, 9, 9, and 11. Did really well. But since then, things have not gone so well. He's only gone over 6 assists with 7 or more in 1, 2 out of his last 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 2 out of his last 10 without Zion, without Brandon Ingram. So the assists have really just fallen off for him. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened to the guy that was dropping 11, 9, 9, and 11, but that guy is not that guy. He's not that guy, pal. He's not that guy, pal, anymore, all right? Anyway, let's see how he's done against the Denver Nuggets this season, if they've played each other, how he's performed. He played them once. It was December 4th, so a little over a month ago. He had just 6 assists in that game. So again, we're not trying to play for the push. We want to play for the win. And meaning he did not have 7 assists against Denver. So I don't like his chances tonight either of finding 7 assists. So let's get you a projection on CJ McCollum here. McCollum, again, going up against Denver. And Denver's got a lot of question marks, too. Who will be in? Who will be out for them? We're still waiting on some Bones Highland, Nikola Jokic news, Michael Porter Jr. news, which I think he was already ruled out. But at 6.5 dimes on all the sports books, major juice coming in on the under, anywhere from -140 up to -150. And then you take a look at the projection for him. You've got CJ McCollum projected for just 5 dimes tonight. So for me, it's either you're going to fade this thing or you're going to play it for the under, is basically the way that I'm looking at it. Leave it alone or possibly take it for the under, but I don't like McCollum's chances of getting 7 assists. It just hasn't been there. I mean, you guys see the logs for yourself with your own 2 eyes, right? McCollum just isn't dropping 7 or more assists very often here lately. Which leads us to the last guy here, Jalen Brunson, who's at 6 assists as well. Jalen Brunson's probably going to have his work cut out for him, going up against the likes of Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, Isaac Okoro, right? Very tough matchups here for Jalen Brunson. Cleveland, obviously a very good defensive team. They got the Twin Towers manning the middle. Your Jared Allen, your Evan Mobley. And so Jalen Brunson may find himself dishing the ball out more than scoring and getting buckets tonight. But let's go ahead and take a look here at Jalen Brunson. He's at 6 dimes. We've only seen him exceed 6 once out of his last 5 games. So let's dig into it. Beyond the last 5 games, we want to know how he's performed this season. How many times has he had 7 or more assists? Well, he's done that in 20 out of 45. That's not great. That's a 44% hit rate. 7 or more assists in just 44% of the games that he's played in. You'd like to see a higher hit rate if you're thinking about taking the over. Now, what about at least 6 assists? We know he's at 44% for 7 or more. What about 6 or more? Well, that gets a little bit more green, a little bit better. 58% of the games that he's played in this season, or 26 out of 45. He's had at least 6 or more assists. But again, don't take this prop hoping for 6. You want to take this prop knowing that there's 7 or more assist upside, right? And it's not something that he's done at a very high frequency. Again, just 44%. Now, he has played Cleveland this season. Let's take a look at that. 2 games against the Cavaliers. In those 2 games, he's recorded 7 assists once out of 2 attempts. Once out of 2 games. And this was all the way back in October. October 30th, he had 7 dimes playing against Cleveland in Cleveland. Game tonight is going to be at home. In that home game against Cleveland, he only had 4 dimes in that one. So he's 1 for 2, averaging 5.5 assists. Which brings us to another point. Does he average more assists at home versus more assists on the road, right? Splits information. Well, 6.3 assists for the season, 6.3 at home, which means he's going to average about 6.3 on the road as well. So not a splits guy, not a big significant difference when you're talking about Jalen Brunson's assists. He doesn't significantly assist more at home than he does on the road, so nothing to really worry about there. No real edge to be found when looking at the splits info. Jalen Brunson, let's get you a projection here. I got him projected for 4.7 assists tonight, my friends. 4.7, that's a whole lot less than 6. Now, these are just projections. They're not guarantees. There are no guarantees. There are no locks in what we do here. You know that. No such thing as locks unless you go to Home Depot or Lowe's, or New York, because, you know, Sheik, Luch, Styles, P, and Jada Kiss, of course. Those locks are forever. But anyway, projected for just 4.7 dimes, big betting favorite under 6.5, but also a big betting favorite over 5.5. So again, I just don't like Jalen Brunson's chances of going for 7 or more dimes based on what we've looked at. Now, if you disagree with what we looked at, that means you disagree with facts. And if you disagree with facts and something in your gut's telling you to go a different way, hey, more power to you. I play it by the numbers. That's just the way that I roll. All right. So there you go. There you go. There's your rundown. Hopefully that helps somebody out there either get on a winning prop or avoid a potentially bad prop. Dante's coming through with a super chat as well. Dante, I Appreciate you, my friend. Thank you for the super chat. We've got Nikola Vucevic, rebounds and assists being mentioned, or fantasy. Well, I'm going to just make this short and sweet. I'm a fantasy lover for Nikola Vucevic tonight, to answer your question. And then Kawhi Leonard's points. Well, let's start it off here with the first question, because, this guy Vooch, Mr. Vucci, he's hit the fantasy score in 3 straight games, 75.6 against Golden State. I don't expect that tonight. But, 44 against Detroit. Yeah. 46.9 against Atlanta last night. Yeah. I can get on board with something like that, in the 40, mid 40 range, maybe even upward to 50. But I'm rocking with Vucevic over fantasy score for sure. But you also asked about another way to play Vooch, his rebounds and assists. We could definitely look at those as well. But I think for me, I think I'm going to prefer the fantasy score for Vucevic going up against Indiana, who really gives up a lot of fantasy points. And then your other question was Kawhi Leonard in that battle for LA, right? Los Angeles Lakers, Los Angeles Clippers. They're facing each other tonight. Kawhi Leonard, Paul George versus LeBron James, and Russell Westbrook. All right, I guess we'll throw Russell Westbrook in there. We'll show some love to Russell Westbrook. But anyway, yeah, you got these three as questions. Vucevic, do we take the fantasy score? Do we take the rebounds and assist on Vucevic? Or is Kawhi Leonard going for at least 27 points tonight? Well, we'll again kick this off by talking Vooch fantasy score. Now, the reason that Vucevic, for me, got today's thumbnail is, again, because he's in a great spot against the Indiana Pacers. For the season, guys, they're giving up 55.8 fantasy points per game to opposing centers. Now, that is the 5th most fantasy points given up to the center position here. Basically, how you get this fantasy score is you look at the averages that they're allowing this season to the center position, which is over 23.5 points, over 16 rebounds. They're giving up nearly 4 assists. On top of that, they're giving up over 1 steal and over 2 blocks per game to opposing centers. So that's how you get this fantasy score average of 55.8. And yeah, you do get docked for turnovers. It's -1 fantasy point for every turnover that a guy commits. But nonetheless, yeah, Indiana this season averaging the 5th most points per game allowed to the center's spot. Now let's look at the last 7 games. Maybe they've gotten better defensively, or maybe they've gotten worse. Indiana's still giving up a healthy 58.2 fantasy points per game to opposing centers. That's still a top 10 number. Very good. 19.6 points, so they're giving up fewer points. Over 15 rebounds, over 4.5 assists. Still giving up a ton of stocks, which are your steals and blocks, over 2 per game, and over 3 blocks per game. So you're talking about over 5 steals and blocks per game. Those are worth 3 points apiece. Guys, those are fantasy gold. If Nikola Vucevic can get some stocks, some steals, and some blocks, those are worth 3 each. Those can add up quickly and really help to bolster a fantasy score for Nikola Vucevic tonight. So you can see he's hit the over in 3 out of his last 5 games. He's on a nice little hot streak coming off that 75.6 fantasy point per game over against the Golden State Warriors. So I like Vucevic tonight against Indiana. Indiana's been bad this season. They have not gotten a whole lot better in the last 7 games, so there's no reason for me to feel that Vucevic can't keep this thing going here. If you want a bigger sample size of games, we can do that using StatMuse. We go Nikola Vucevic. Man, I miss Vooch in Orlando. But I will say, my young boys, my young Orlando Magic squad is looking pretty good lately. If y'all disagree, some haters. But no, yeah, the Magic are looking great. FanDuel points logs this season. Let's go take a look and see what Vucevic has been up to at 41.5. So we talked about his little hot streak here. The last 3 games he has gone over. We backtrack a little bit. 37-2, 38-5, 38-1. Those are all very strong games. I mean, one more 3-pointer, one more steal or block, and he's right there knocking on the doors at 41.5. We go back a little further, 45.2, 60.6, 44.1, right? Comes up a little bit short, 37-38. Then he has 43.8, 44.3. So you kind of get the idea. I mean, he's going to be right there around 40 or more fantasy points on any given night. He's been pretty darn consistent, in fact. Now, we can take this a step further. We can take a look at situations where Nikola Vucevic, on the road, is he scoring more or less, hitting more or less on his fantasy score? So let's look at his away games. His away games here. The last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 away games that he's played. He's hit the over in 1, 2, 3, 4 out of his last 10 away games. Ugh, that's 40%. That's 40%. That's not great. What about maybe going like first half only on Vucevic on the road? What about those hit rates? Maybe he's just a first half play today. Let's look at those. Going off on a little wild ride here. He's at 20.5 first half fantasy score, something that he's hit in 4 out of his last 5 games. Okay, so he's got a higher hit rate on the first half in the last 5 than he does in the full game. So already we're finding a little bit of an edge by going first half only here. He needs at least 20.6 first half fantasy points. Let's see how many times he's done that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He's hit the over in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 50% for his last 10 away games on first half fantasy score, 40% in his last 10 away games for his full game fantasy score. So you could consider him as a first half only option, which has a slightly higher hit rate in games played on the road in the last 10. So maybe you go Vucevic first half only for fantasy score. Slightly higher hit rates from what we're seeing in the last 10 games. But the other way that you wanted to play Vucevic was his rebounds and assists, and we'll talk about that one in just a minute. But I want to get you a projection on Vucevic in his fantasy score. So let's do that real quick. Again, he's at 41.5 on PrizePicks. We're using Fantasy Labs projection models to get you this number. Fantasy Labs has Nikola Vucevic for 44 fantasy points tonight, my friends. 44 fantasy points against the Indiana Pacers, a team who has consistently been in the top 5, top 10 in most fantasy points allowed to opposing centers. So I like that projection of 44. That's 2.5 more fantasy points higher than where PrizePicks has him at 41.5. So there you go. Vucevic fantasy score, he is projecting for more than what PrizePicks has him at. Also want to look at the rebounds and assists for you. So let's do that real quick. I'll pull up some information on Vucevic rebounds and assists. And again, friendly reminder, I'm looking for 8,000 subscribers by the end of this week. It's a lofty goal. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I believe it can happen with your help. If you're viewing this, watching this, you're not subscribed, get subscribed. Share this link with a friend. If you know somebody who plays on PrizePicks, or maybe they don't, maybe they play player props on some other site, that's fine too. This information is relevant and pertinent to anybody playing player props on any platform or site. I wish you were playing on PrizePicks. So if you're not, go ahead and get signed up using promo code Curry and get that 100% instant deposit match. Links to everything that I got going on, by the way, always found down in the description of today's video. So rebounds and assists for Nikola Vucevic. You're asking about this one. Not the best hit rate. 17 for 46, just a 37% hit rate. 17 for 46 is not what you want to see, right, folks? That's pretty bad. What about when he's on the road? Well, averaging 14.4 for the season. He tends to do worse in the rebounds and assists category. On the road, averaging just 13.6. He's hit the over in just 6 out of 23 games played on the road this season. That's a 26% hit rate. If anything, maybe we should be considering going under. I know the opponent is a plus matchup, the Indiana Pacers, but hey, Vucevic is not doing very well when it comes to rebounds and assists in road games. 6 for 23, 26% hit rate. 13.6 rebounds and assists on the road versus 15.3 at home. So if you're getting Vucevic at home, different situation. Vucevic on the road, not so nice. Now, he has played Indiana once already this season. In that game, he managed just 11 This was at the beginning of the season, but just 11 rebounds and assists, falling well short of the 16 rebounds and assists that we need from him tonight if we're thinking about taking the over. We could even go flashback mode here and head back to last season. Now, last season was a different situation. Maybe Vooch had himself a bad game against Indiana with that 11 rebound and assist line, because last season against the Indiana Pacers, my boy put up 18, 20, and 21 rebounds and assists. Now, I think all of those games included Domantas Sabonis for Indiana and Miles Turner. So for him to get it done against that formidable duo there of the Twin Towers, the two bigs that were playing for Indiana at that time, pretty impressive. But the fact that he only got 11, not so impressive. Hopefully tonight is a different situation. We can also look at how he performs on 0 days rest. This is what they call a back-to-back situation for Nikola Vucevic. Obviously, Chicago just played Atlanta last night. In back-to-backs this year, Vucevic is 4 for 8. That's a 50% hit rate. Take this a step further. Back-to-backs played on the road. Not great here for Vooch. Not great here for Vooch. Back-to-back games played on the road. He is 0 for 2, tallying just 9 rebounds and assists in each of those games. Atlanta was the opponent in both of those games. So 0 for 2 in back-to-backs and in back-to-backs on the road. So 0 for 2. 9 rebounds and assists in those games. All right, so there's some very eye-opening data there for Nikola Vucevic tonight. Let's go ahead and pull something up. A projection for Vooch. Got his rebounds and assists projection of 17.2, gang. That puts him over 15.5 by a country mile. In fact, that's a pretty big projection. 17.2 versus 15.5. We're seeing him at 15.5 on some sports books here, minus 120, minus 130. And we're even seeing some of these books, some of these lines makers who think that 16 to 17 rebounds and assists might be where Vucevic lands. They've got his line set at 16.5, a whole point higher than PrizePicks does. But at 16.5, the betting public, they're not believers that Vucevic can secure 17 rebounds and assists tonight. So they're betting the under at 16.5. So betting favorite at 15.5 to go over. That's where he's at on PrizePicks, but a betting favorite to go under at 16.5. So there's some information, some intel for you on Nikola Vucevic in that back-to-back situation on the road tonight, playing up against a good matchup, though, against the Indiana Pacers, who have not been so great against opposing bigs like Vooch. All right, Kawhi Leonard is the other one that you guys are asking about. Kawhi Leonard's at 26.5. Who put this super chatting? Dante, that's right. So we're looking at Kawhi Leonard, who has gone over his gone over his 26.5 points in 4 straight games. That's what I'm trying to say. 30 against Houston. That's an easy matchup, right? That's a soft matchup for him. 27 against Philadelphia, a little tougher matchup. San Antonio, another soft matchup with 36. And then Dallas. Dallas did a good job on Kawhi Leonard in the first half. I was actually watching that game. They had the likes of Dorian Finney-Smith, Reggie Bullock switching out on Kawhi Leonard for most of the game. So for Kawhi to finish with 30 against a quality defender or a duo like Dorian Finney-Smith and Reggie Bullock is actually quite impressive. I would say that was probably his toughest matchup that he's faced in the last 4 games, and still came away with 30 points. Now, I don't know who the Lakers are going to try and use tonight on Kawhi Leonard. Let's think about it for a minute. LeBron James, possibly. Is he going to take on the assignment of guarding Kawhi? If he doesn't, who does, right? Rui Hachimura is not ready to start playing yet for LA. So that leaves him with who? Brown? They going to put Brown on Kawhi Leonard? I don't know. But it seems like a situation where Kawhi Leonard should be able to feast tonight, right? I mean, I'm just running through the Lakers roster here in my head, and I'm thinking, do they have an answer for Kawhi Leonard defensively outside of LeBron? And LeBron's really not defending like LeBron did in Miami or somewhere, like that. This isn't the same LeBron, but you got Schroeder, Beverly, Troy Brown, LeBron James, and Thomas Bryant. So it's got to be Troy Brown or LeBron who's going to try and guard Kawhi Leonard tonight. I mean, they could throw Troy Brown to the wolves, so to speak, and let Kawhi Leonard and let him guard Kawhi Leonard, and then put LeBron on Marcus Morris and try to conserve LeBron's energy for the offensive end, because they're going to need offense from LeBron. We already know that. Looking at this lineup, Dennis Schroeder, Pat Bev, Troy Brown, LeBron James, and Thomas Bryant. They're going to need LeBron James to be out there for his offense more than his defense. But yeah, I think this lines up really well for a Kawhi Leonard type of night tonight. Either he or Paul George. Maybe they put Patrick Beverley on Paul George. I think he's a little small for Paul George. Could get into some foul trouble, especially if PG goes down to the low block, starts posting him up, or mid-post, starts posting him up and working the mid-range game against Patrick Beverley. He's going to be outsized and out-muscled by Paul George. Tough matchup though for the Lakers is what I'm seeing here. It's gonna be a tough matchup for the Lakers. They're gonna lose this game. I just don't see a path to victory here unless somebody goes completely bonkers. But Kawhi's looking like he's in a good spot. I just don't think that they have anybody. The Lakers just don't have anybody. If Hachimura was healthy, okay, maybe, but Troy Brown's not going to slow Kawhi Leonard down. And that's just a bold prediction on my behalf. I could be wrong. I don't know anything. I don't have a crystal ball. I'm not Nostradamus. But it just doesn't bode well, I don't think, for the Lakers tonight. Anyway, looking at Kawhi Leonard here, obviously his minutes have started to ramp up. So in accordance with his minutes ramping up, we've seen his production really start to ramp up here over the last 10 games. Kawhi's sitting at 26.5 points today. This is a number that he has covered in 6 games out of his last 7. So he's really started to pick up the scoring pace after a slow start to the season where he was in and out of the lineup, and you know how they've been babying Kawhi Leonard, I guess, monitoring his minutes. He's finally starting to see a good, healthy amount of minutes here over the last 10 games or so. 34.8 minutes per game in his last 10. And then we look at the last 5, that number's climbed a little bit higher too at 36.6 minutes per game. So the minutes are starting to go up for Kawhi Leonard as we reach sort of the halfway point. We've reached the halfway point of the NBA season. It's good to see Kawhi Leonard starting to kind of take form here. But yeah, showing excellent scoring ability over the last 7 games or so. More minutes, more points. You love to see it. We do have matchups from Kawhi Leonard versus the Lakers this season, but important to note, this 14 points that he scored, he didn't play very many minutes, just 21.3 minutes. So he had 14 points in 21 minutes in that game. So he would need about another 13 points, let's say in 15 or more minutes, which I think is totally doable for a guy like Kawhi Leonard who has the chops, basketball chops that he has. So that's your situation for Kawhi. Let's get you a projection real quick on him. I think his points are, probably a great spot to attack tonight. But he's at 26.8 projected points. We're seeing him at 26.5 on DraftKings and BetMGM, where he is a betting favorite to go over. Guys, FanDuel and PointsBet have him up at 27.5, which means they're lines makers. Hopefully they're setting a line that's as close to 50% as possible, but 27 to 28 points is where they think Kawhi Leonard potentially lands tonight. So I like this. I really just don't see, outside of LeBron maybe, who they're going to stick on Kawhi Leonard that's going to slow him down. So out of these 3 picks, I would probably drop Vucevic rebounds and assists, and I would stick with Vooch fantasy score and Kawhi Leonard points. I think those were my 2 favorite out of the 3 you mentioned, Mr. Perry. So hopefully that helps you out and lead you to green tonight, lead you to victory, success. Appreciate all the new subscribers that are flooding in here. We've got Jatarian. We got Get Me ABM. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. We got K-Dog in the house. Thank you. Madik, Man Beef. Appreciate all of you guys, man. All the new subs, I appreciate. Caleb Dixon, thank you for subscribing to the channel. If I missed anybody, not anything personal. Bust Down K88. Appreciate the bust down, man. Thank you for being here as well. Definitely smash that subscribe button and get subscribed. Trying to get to that 8,000 mark. Like I said, I can't do it without your help though. All right, that was Dante's super chat. We got some, man, we're already 2 hours in on the stream. You guys are crazy. Hit me with these super chats. Crazy. Zen and Bowie. Leaving the super chat, he's liking LeBron James for points or rebounds and assists. He's also thinking maybe Russell Westbrook, rebounds and assists, and CJ McCollum, maybe for some points. Heard that. Let's go take a look at some of the ones that you mentioned here. LeBron James. You're liking LeBron James for points, or you said the rebounds and assists. Let's look at this. All right, both of these dudes, you're liking the over on both of these. And then Russell Westbrook for rebounds and assists. I can already tell you, I'm probably not going to be rocking with that CJ McCollum pick. Probably not going to be the one that I go with tonight, CJ McCollum. But you got Westbrook on here. That might be an interesting play. And then McCollum for points. All right, let's look at all of these, man. Let's look at all of these and do our due diligence for our friend here. Appreciate that again. Zenon Bowie, appreciate you leaving that super chat. So we're going over on all these, right? That's what I think ZB, my man Zenon's wanting to do. So we got to start at the top of the list here with LBJ, the king, LeBron James. He's about to try and show the Los Angeles Clippers that he's still the king in LA, but I don't know if he's got enough help tonight. I don't know if LeBron's going to have enough horses and men, all the king's horses and all the king's men. You know what I mean? We're going to find out, though. We're going to see what LeBron's been doing with this 31.5 point number as he continues to march toward the all-time scoring record held by Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, right? LeBron's going to keep putting in the points as long as he's chasing Kareem's scoring record. This season, 13 for 37, 35%. I think what would make this a little bit more accurate, though, we're going to pull Anthony Davis out of the mix and look at games played without AD. I guess we could go last 30. So this season, he's hit the over in 1, 2, 3, 4 out of his last 5 without AD. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So he's 12 of 19 at 31.5 points without Anthony Davis. Obviously, he's going to have a hell of a matchup tonight with Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. Marcus Morris, not bad either. Pretty decent little defender. Got a good big guy in the middle, which is where LeBron likes to score a lot of his points. LeBron, not really much of a mid-range guy. He's either shooting a three or he's scoring at the rim. You got big 7-foot shot blocking Ivica Zubac standing in your way, though. Ivica Zubac revenge game. Ivica Zubac revenge game. Ivica Zubac revenge game. Maybe Zubac has a good game. I don't know. Zubac first half only play for me, though, by the way. Anyway, LeBron typically shooting a three or he's scoring at the basket. So he's going to be hounded by Paul George, by Kawhi Leonard, maybe some Marcus Morris. When he gets to the bucket, big Zubac is going to be there waiting for him. So this could be kind of a tough game for him. Just looking at the matchup, on paper for what it is, potentially tough. All right, let's look at games that LeBron's played at home because he's going to be playing at home tonight. So why not, right? He's hit the over in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 8 games without Anthony Davis at home. 5 of 8 without AD playing at home. What about against the Clippers? What about it? Let's look at it. 2 games played against the Los Angeles Clippers this season at 31.5 points. My friends, he's 0 for 2 against the Clips. I really hate this matchup for the Lakers tonight. I think this game has the potential to get ugly for the Lakers. I really don't see how they hang around, but we'll see. Crazier things have happened. This is the NBA we're talking about after all. But anyway, LeBron 0 for 2. 20 points and 30 points against the Clippers this season. Okay? It's going to be a tough night. LeBron's really going to have to do something special tonight. I mean, he's done some special stuff this season. This is going to be otherworldly special. He's going to need to bring out the best that he's got. So projected for 31.5 points. We're seeing him at 32.5 on DraftKings and BetMGM. Guys, they are smashing the under here. They don't think LeBron James is good for 33 tonight. Those that bet on those sites, that's they. That's the they I'm talking about. At 31.5, we're really not seeing too much line movement, too much juice or action on the over, meaning folks are not betting the over on LeBron James here at 31.5 points. I got to give this a fade, man. I know who he is. I know what he's capable of. But he's 0 for 2 against the Clippers. I've got questions, concerns that this game even stays close and competitive for 4 quarters. I really do. And I'm going to go ahead and leave LeBron's points alone. That's my answer on that one. But you also mentioned his rebounds and his assists. Now, this could be the better way to go here. All right? If they are giving him problems, hey, I'll drop it off to Thomas Bryant, Patrick Beverley, Dennis Schroeder. Oh, it's ugly. The Lakers need help. And hopefully the Hachimura trade really helps him out. But, hey, we're going to look at rebounds and assists for LeBron. Now, this is something that he's done 1 out of 2 times versus the Clippers. He had 16 rebounds and assists against them on October 20th. 13, very close, but no cigar. 13 rebounds and assists in the follow-up game, November 9th. So he is 1 for 2. So he's got a slightly better hit rate on the rebounds and assists at 1 for 2 versus the 0 for 2 on just the points. Now, taking a look this season, rebounds and assists, LeBron is 18 for 37. That's a 49% hit rate. We can take a look at what he does at home, 15.8, 11 for 18, 61% hit rate. So he's doing a pretty good job when he plays in LA in that crypto or whatever it's called arena. Now, looking at the last 6 games for LeBron, he's hit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of his last 6. This last game was against Memphis. Fell short by the hook with 15 rebounds and assists. Otherwise, he would have kept that streak going. But yeah, 5 out of his last 6 games played at home, he's gone over 15.5 rebounds and assists. 1 for 2 against the Clippers. Now we can take this a step further like we did before. We're going to take Anthony Davis out. And when we take Anthony Davis out, we look at the last 10 games. We'll go last 10 games for LeBron. 7 out of 10. That's a 70% hit rate. 70% hit rate without Anthony Davis in his last 10 games is pretty freaking good. Pretty freaking good. Last 30 games, all right. Well, this includes games from last season, but you can see he's hitting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 games that he's hit without AD this season. So he's really kind of picked up the pace, though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 out of his last 10. I mean, yeah, he's starting to get more rebounds, more assists in the last 10 games, 11 games or so. So he should be in a pretty good spot tonight for the rebounds and assists. I think already just off the top, I would probably prefer the rebounds and assists over the points, but let's get you a projection and see what those are looking like. Got him projected for 14.1 rebounds and assists. Whew. That's less than 15.5 by quite a bit. And then at 15.5, lots of action on the under. Lots of juice coming in. Minus 135, minus 132. So not a lot of believers in LeBron tonight. And I kind of agree, man. This matchup against the Clippers is not going to be one for the faint of heart. It's going to be a tough game. All right, Russell Westbrook was another guy that you mentioned for rebounds and assists. Let's look at those. He's at 13.5 here on PrizePicks. Let's just quickly pull Russ's game logs up and see what he's been up to this season. 45% hit rate. He's missed this in his last 4 games. He's missed this in his last 5 out of 6 games. He has gone under. So the rebounds and assists for the last 6 games or so have really started to fall off for Westbrook. All right, let's take Anthony Davis out. Taking AD out, taking a look at the last, we'll go 30 games here, 30 game view. Not too many hits in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 out of 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 8 out of 20 games he has hit over 13.5 rebounds plus assists. Again, that is a sub 50% hit rate for this guy here, Russell Westbrook. Last 10 games, kind of see what he's been doing. Been a coin flip. The last 6 in particular, not so good. He's gone under in 4 straight games. So something's up with Russ. He just ain't been getting it done like he has been for the season. Let's put Anthony Davis back in the mix here and just look at the averages for Russell Westbrook at home. 14.5 rebounds plus assists at home. That's a 12 for 23 hit rate, 52%. When we put Anthony Davis back off the floor and look at the home games, Russ is 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 out of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 4 out of 9 without Anthony Davis. All right, so does not look great. Does not look sexy to me in particular. If you're going to play it, you probably want to flex it. Just flex it, man. If you're not feeling great about it, hit that flex. He is 0 for 2 against the Clippers this season. Also worth noting, 7 rebounds and assists back in October, 13 rebounds and assists in the beginning of November. So another one of these guys who is just, 0 for 2, not hitting at a high hit rate here in recent games. So it would be hard for me to want to take an over here, but again, it's the NBA. Crazy things happen sometimes. He's projected for 14.5. We're seeing him at 13.5 on all sports books, but some sites like a BetMGM, he is a betting favorite to go under at minus 120 odds. So slightly below. So there you go. There's Russell Westbrook for you. That's going to be a fade for me. Probably not going to play that one. If you like it, please don't let me talk you off anything. I'm just here presenting the facts. Presenting the stats, presenting the facts for you, and hopefully, you get some benefit out of this, and you either fade it or you take it or whatever you want to do with it. But CJ McCollum, we talked about him and his inconsistencies. Another guy that I just don't trust as far as I can throw him. You would think that this guy would be a little bit better at getting buckets, especially when Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson are not in the lineup for the New Orleans Pelicans. But guys, it has not been very good for CJ McCollum here recently. 24.5 points. We've seen him do this in the last 5 games just once. And it was against probably his toughest opponent out of those 5, the Cleveland Cavaliers. So go figure, right? Makes a lot of sense. The last 10 games for McCollum, he did start out really strong here at the beginning of the month, beginning of the year, January, 26, 28, 28, and then 34 and 38. So, first 5 games of the season, or of the new year rather, he went over. But since then, it's been ugly. 1 for his last 5, as we mentioned before. Let's take a look at his scoring average this season, 21.1 points per game when he plays at home, 22 points per game when he plays on the road, just 20.3 points per game. So the positive situation here is that you are getting him in a plus splits type of situation, meaning he's playing at home tonight where he tends to score just a little bit better than he does on the road. Has he played Denver this season? You betcha. You bet he has. And guess how many points he had against Denver the first time that he played them, guys? 7. 7 points. That's not very many. That's way off of 25 points. So if you're thinking about taking the over on McCollum, please consider the fact that he only had 7 points against Denver the last time they played. All right. Not a good performance from him whatsoever. Now, we've been doing some things with these Pelicans players. What we've been doing is taking Zion Williamson and Brandon Ingram off the floor to see if the averages go up or down. So let's do that with McCollum here. He's at 21.1 for the season. But in games played without Zion Williamson, let's go last 10 without Zion, 24.8 points. So that's better. What about games played without Zion and Brandon Ingram? Are we going to see another jump in scoring? Games played without Zion and Ingram last 10, still at 24.8. He's hit the over without BI and Zion in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So this is another sub 50% hit rate type of prop. He has just been wildly inconsistent. You just never know which CJ McCollum you're going to get on any given night. But again, he does score more at home, so you are catching him at home tonight, going up against a Denver Nuggets team that hasn't been the greatest against point guards. But we did see that game where McCollum only had 7 points, unfortunately. So there's some info for you on McCollum. Let's get a projection on his points. Got him projected for 25. That barely puts him over 24.5. But again, you're seeing some bad stuff here on the sports books. What I mean by that is he's at 24.5 on DraftKings and on BetMGM, right? Which is what PrizePicks has him at, 24.5. But at 24.5, they are betting the under. Not only that, but a book like FanDuel, their lines makers have him at 23.5 points, which means they think 23 to 24 points is possibly where CJ McCollum ends up today, right? 23 and 24 points. Well, those are both numbers less than 24.5. I just can't trust this guy. I cannot trust CJ McCollum. I've banned him from being in my entries. So I would recommend that you ban him as well. And please, if you're going to play him in a flex entry. And if he doesn't hit, well, don't be surprised, okay? Anyway, that's your little rundown there. Hopefully that helps you out, my friend. Thank you, Zenon. Appreciate you. I think the Lakers are in a tough night tonight. I think LeBron's in for a tough matchup. I really don't see how that game stays close. I think the Clippers have the tools to beat the Lakers right now and beat them bad. So we'll see if that happens or not. We'll see if that happens. Accolade coming through with a super chat. Accolade, thank you for the super chat. I'm trying to get caught up on all these super chats. You guys are killing me today. I love it though. Love it. Accolade left a super chat asking about RJ Barrett for the over on his assist prop. RJ Barrett, huh? Assists? Whew. Let's see it. RJ Barrett's at 2.5 assists. Well, damn. That does look kind of good, right? 2.5 dimes. He had 5 against Toronto. He's going to be playing Cleveland tonight. The previous games for RJ Barrett, he had went under 2.5 assists. Let's see if we've got anything here with this RJ Barrett assist prop. Let's see if it's all smoke and mirrors or if there's some real substance to taking RJ Barrett in this particular spot. So we're going to go look at his assists this season. Guys, since coming back into the lineup, he missed some time for the Knicks. Since coming back in the lineup, this has not been a prop that has hit at a very high hit rate. But for the season, overall, 22 for 42. We're talking about a 52% hit rate. Against Cleveland, he's played the Cavaliers a total of 2 times this season. He's went under 2.5 assists both times. 0 for 2 against Cleveland. Okay? 0 for 2 against Cleveland, 52% hit rate this season. And then we look at like the last 10 games. So when did he come back into the mix? He came back into the mix on January 11th. Prior to that, 12/27 was the last time he had played. So from December 27th all the way up to January 11th. Let's look at the January 11th and beyond. So he's hit the over in 1, 2. Kind of bookend here, right? 4 assists and 5 assists. 4 against Indiana, 5 against Toronto. In between there, though, you got 1, 2, 2, 2, and 2. So he's 2 for his last 7. 2 for his last 7 since returning back to the starting lineup and covering this prop. Now we look at the Cleveland defense. Guys, they rank first in fewest assists allowed. Just 22.7 assists given up to opposing teams this season. No team gives up fewer assists than the Cleveland Cavaliers, and they're going to be 100% healthy tonight, too. It's going to be Garland and Mitchell and Okoro, and it's going to be Mobley and Allen, and so the matchup is going to be tough. It's going to be tough for RJ Barrett. Thank you for the sub. All the new subscribers, man. Appreciate you guys. I see you. I see you, Cody. Thank you for hitting that subscribe button, my friend. RJ Barrett, though. Yeah, not liking this one at all. 2 for his last 7 since, like I said, returning back to the starting lineup. Now, if a guy like Emmanuel Quickley is out, Emmanuel Quickley is currently a game time decision, then maybe this gets a little bit more interesting for RJ Barrett. I mean, we can explore some games, if there are any, without Emmanuel Quickley. He is currently unsure if he's going to play or not. One game, I guess we can go back to last season too. 2 games, right? 2 games without Emmanuel Quickley. RJ Barrett, 4 assists against Atlanta. That was last season. 5 assists against Toronto. That was the last game. Emmanuel Quickley was not in that last game. So if Quickley is out again tonight, let's see if we've got an update on his status real quick. Game time decision. He's questionable tonight. He was unavailable versus Toronto due to a sore left knee, and it's not yet clear whether he'll return Tuesday. Okay, so if Quickley is out, then I would say that maybe RJ Barrett is a good option. Now, we're going to go to NBA.com. We're going to take a look at their advanced stats page. I want to take a look at their last game. This is weird. I did not do this ahead of time. This is just coincidence, I guess. It's already set up for me. So I'm looking at the potential assists. I want to see the potential assists in that last game, the game without Quickly. I want to see how many passes were made, who led the team in passes made, who led the team in potential assists, and how the assists themselves kind of shook out, right? So Immanuel Quickley was out for this game. New York played Toronto. This was from Sunday, I think it was. So who led the team in passes made? It was actually Jalen Brunson with 69 passes made without Quickley in the rotation. So no Immanuel Quickley here. So Jalen Brunson led the way with 69 passes. Behind him was actually Julius Randle with 57 passes made. Now, I can't believe this, but Jericho Sims had 34 passes made. He actually had more passes than RJ Barrett did. RJ Barrett had 33. RJ Barrett was fourth in the pecking order when it comes to passes made. Now, why is that important? Well, passes made, you can't make a pass unless the basketball's in your hands. You cannot make an assist unless the basketball is in your hands. So the more passes made, the more touches that a player got. And in this case, RJ Barrett didn't really get as many touches as I would expect he would get without Immanuel Quickley in there. So Jalen Brunson was first in passes made in that last game. Julius Randle was second with 57, and then it really falls off from there. Sims, Barrett, 34 and 33. All right. Now, what about potential assists? Those passes made don't mean anything unless there's some potential assists involved, right? Especially when you're talking about an assist prop on RJ Barrett. Well, who led the team in potential assists? It was Jalen Brunson, which is no surprise because he led the team in passes made with 69. So he led the team in passes made. He led the team in potential assists. Again, behind him, no surprise, Julius Randle with 11 potential assists on 57 passes made. So you're seeing a correlation here between passes made and potential assists. RJ Barrett, who was fourth in passes made, actually was third in potential assists with 6. So let's say Immanuel Quickley sits out again tonight. We've got RJ Barrett at 2.5 assists, right? He had 6 potentials in the last game. We just need him to hit on about 50% of his potential assists. In other words, we need to see him convert 6 of those potential assists into 3 actual assists, which is something that I think is possible and doable. So for me, in order to play this prop on the over at 2.5 dimes, I need to know with certainty that Immanuel Quickley is going to be out tonight. And we don't know that just yet. He is a game time decision. But if Quickley is out, then yes, I think I would take a shot here on RJ Barrett for more than 2.5 assists. So hopefully that deep dive into how potential assists and passes made works, hopefully that helps you out and sheds a little bit of light. I got RJ Barrett's projection for his assists sitting at 3.5. 3.5 assists. Now, at 2.5 assists, you're going to see him some really strong juice here on the over on your various sports books. Minus 135 on DraftKings, minus 138 on FanDuel, minus 140 on BetMGM. So I like the fact that we're getting a strong projection at 3.5. I like the fact that we're seeing some juice on the over at anywhere between minus 135 and minus 140 odds. Those things are good. Now, I would love this prop. I would love this prop if Immanuel Quickley is out. We don't know if he is in or out just yet, but if he is out, then I'm in on this prop. I like it. I like what I'm seeing, though. But I think you're onto something here, Accolade, with RJ Barrett. Now, if you want to get on it early and maybe you have a hunch or a lean that Quickley will not play tonight, get in on it early. It could get bumped up to 3.5 before you know it. Okay. What else we got here? We got Adele Gallardo coming through with a super chat. He's liking Darius Garland, 7.5 assists, Zach LaVine for 4.5 rebounds, and Kyle Kuzma over 12.5 rebounds and assists. Okay. Let's line these up real quick. Garland, 7.5 assists. Okay, you like that for the over. Zach LaVine, 4.5 rebounds. You like that for the over. Spell this guy's name right here. 4.5 rebounds. And then you also mentioned Kyle Kuzma for rebounds and assists. I don't know how I feel about Kuzma tonight. I think I'm going to fade the Wizards overall, but I can understand it. I can get it. I can get in on that. Garland, 7.5 assists. Levine, 4.5 rebounds, and Kuzma, 12.5 rebounds and assists. And you want to take the over on all of those, right? On all of them. So let's dig through these real quick. Starting with the first one, Garland, who again will have Donovan Mitchell back in the lineup tonight. Garland has hit the over on his assists in a lot of these games recently without Donovan Mitchell. 11, 14, 10, and 10. So we'll have to see how things are shaken up, how they're impacted with the return of Donovan Mitchell to this backcourt. And then, of course, you got Ricky Rubio, who just came back recently, too. He's been getting some runs, some minutes. So let's take a look. Darius Garland, 7.5 assists, 25 for 39 this season. That's a 64% hit rate. That is a lovely hit rate, 64%. Okay, and a lot of these games, majority of them were played with the Spider, Donovan Mitchell, right? He's played the New York Knicks once in that game. Not good. Just 3 assists in that game against the Knicks. 3 assists is not going to get you anywhere close to the 8 assists that you need if you're thinking about taking the over there. So hopefully he has a better night tonight against the Knicks than he did in this game, which was played December 4th. So 2 days rest. My man Garland on 2 days rest. He likes his rest. 3 for 4. He's hit the over in 3 out of 4 games when he's had at least 2 days to rest up. So get your rest, Darius Garland. Darius Garland's going to be well rested tonight, and hopefully he's ready to drop some dimes for you. Taking a look at the split situation. We've got Garland playing on the road tonight, but at home, there's a lot of green bars in here at 7.5 dimes because he's 14 for 20. That's a 70% hit rate at home, averaging 8.6 assists when he's playing in front of the Cleveland crowd. Now on the road, that drops by a whole assist. Now that sounds like nothing. He's averaging 8.6 assists at home, but 7.6 assists on the road. That's pretty big. That's a major swing. 1 whole assist, that's big. All right. So on the road tonight in New York, 11 for 19, 58%, 7.6 assists on the road. We've seen him miss this prop in 3 of his last 5 games. In other words, he's gone under 7.5 in 3 out of his last 5. Now, one other thing that you could do here is use StatMuse. StatMuse is cool for this reason. So PropStatCash gives you the ability to say what happens when this player plays without these players, these 1 or 2 players. But what PropStatCash does not do that I wish it did, I wish I could say, show me the games that Darius Garland has played with Donovan Mitchell in the lineup. You can't do that on PropStatCash yet, but we can do that using StatMuse. So Darius Garland assists logs with Donovan Mitchell this season. All right, so you can kind of get an idea, a feel for how many times that Darius Garland has gone over 7.5 assists while playing alongside of Donovan Mitchell, since we expect Donovan Mitchell to be playing tonight, right? This is a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. 25 games. All right, so let's count them down together. 25 games, he has gone over 7.5 assists in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 out of 25 games he has gone over. So he's gone over more often than not with Donovan Mitchell in the lineup. So that's good news. Now you can also take this a step further and you can type in the word away. This will show you away games played this season with Donovan Mitchell. So you scroll down a little bit, you could see the at sign, we'll call it, the at sign, Cleveland at various opponents. So you can easily see that these are all games that were played on the road. So in these games, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 games played on the road with Donovan Mitchell. Out of those 16 games, he's gone over in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 of 16, The last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games on the road with Donovan Mitchell, he's gone over in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 10. So 50% hit rate in the last 10 games played on the road. That's kind of yuck. That's kind of, right? Don't love that. Don't love that. So he's 0 for 1 against the Knicks. Does not drop as many dimes on the road as he does when he plays at home. In the last 10 games in which he's played alongside Donovan Mitchell, he's just 5 for 10 covering this prop. So some uglies in there. Definitely some uglies. Darius Garland is at 7.5 assists here on PrizePicks. Guys, I got a projection for him. 7.1. That's less than 7.5. That's closer to 7 than it is 8, meaning we should be thinking about going under like these bettors are on these online sports books, all right? We're seeing juice action on the under, minus 135, minus 128, minus 140, and minus 135. So minus 140 juice on BetMGM. They think Garland's going to stay under tonight. So there you go. Either take the under or fade it like your favorite barber. Let's see here. What else? We got Zach LaVine at 4.5 rebounds. Let's go look at that one real quick. LaVine on a back-to-back. He's going up against the Indiana Pacers. Now, you open up Zach LaVine's logs and you're like, damn, that's some green beans right there. Yes, it is. There are lots of green beans here for Zach LaVine. 6.2 rebounds per game over his last 5 games. We've seen him clear 4.5 in 5 straight. What happens when we go beyond the last 5 games? Well, we got to go to PropStatCash, of course, or we can't just settle for the last 5. We got to look a little bit deeper, a little bit more of a sample size than 5 games. So let's go do that right now. So Zach LaVine, last 5 games, we know he's cleared. What about the last 10 games? Whew. Hope you guys like vegetables because Zach LaVine's got the green beans on deck. Yes, he's gone over 4.5 rebounds in 9 of his last 10. The only game that he did not go over was against the Philadelphia 76ers. So he's averaging 5.8 rebounds per game in his last 10, 6.2 rebounds per game in his last 5. And yes, he's already faced the Indiana Pacers. And in that game, he had himself 6 boards. That was back on October 26th. So 1 for 1 against Indiana, 9 for 10 in his last 10 games, 5 for 5 in his last 5 games. We can even go back to his last 30. Still a healthy little hit rate there. 19 for 30, 63%. So what's not to love here, right? Well, how does he do on back-to-backs with no rest? Pretty bad. 2 for 5, 40% hit rate on back-to-back situations. I'm sure he wished he had himself a day of rest, right? But he's 2 for 5, 40%, 4.6 rebounds per game. He had 5 against Atlanta in a back-to-back, 7 against Utah in a back-to-back. These other matchups, kind of tough, right? Cleveland's tough. Here's another game against Atlanta. Charlotte, probably should have found 5 rebounds against Charlotte. I'm just saying. But 40% hit rate in back-to-back scenarios. Now, we could also look at the splits. Is LaVine a better rebounder at home, away? Is there a difference at all, really? Well, 4.4 rebounds per game when he plays at home. Tonight, on the road. And on the road, actually more rebounds. About a half a rebound higher on the road. 4.9 versus 4.4 at home. So on the road this season, at 4.9 rebounds, he has gone over in 12 out of 19. That is a 63% hit rate. I think Zach LaVine looks pretty sharp. Not bad. I don't mind this prop. What about the books? Where they got Zach LaVine? I got a projection of 5.4 for LaVine. That's more than 4.5, but up by almost a whole rebound. And then at 4.5 rebounds, DraftKings, minus 130, FanDuel, minus 136. So some pretty good action, juice on the over here. I think I'm okay with this prop. I like this one better than the Darius Garland assist prop so far. And then your final one was Kyle Kuzma's rebounds and assists. Kuz playing tonight against the Dallas Mavericks. No Kristaps Porzingis, out with an injury. Rui Hachimura will not be with the team because he's got a new team, a new home in Los Angeles with the Lakers. So Kyle Kuzma, 12.5 rebounds plus assists taking on Dallas. Let's see what's good with Kuzi. Lil Kuzi Vert. All right. Kuzma, 18 for 45 this season, 40% hit rate. His averages, not very good, 11.7 for the season. Obviously, that's less than 12.5, which is where his line is set at today. But we have seen Kuzma over the last 5 games do wonders with this line at 12.5. He has gone over in 4 straight games with 14, 16, 20, and 16. All right, 4 for his last 5 is not too shabby. The last 10 games, it's more of a coin flip. 5 of 10, 50% hit rate. Of course, he has played Dallas. This game was without both Kristaps Porzingis and Bradley Beal, as we've already discussed previously. So no Porzingis, no Beal in this game. Kyle Kuzma went nuts. He scored the ball a lot. He rebounded the ball a lot. He was dropping dimes. His usage was insane. Now, Bradley Beal is going to play tonight. The question remains, how much will Bradley Beal play tonight? Is he going to get 30 minutes? Is he going to get 36 minutes? We don't know. We haven't seen Bradley Beal play 30 minutes since he's made his return to the starting lineup. But nonetheless, there will be a void there without Porzingis and Hachimura in that lineup. So, 17 rebounds and assists without Porzingis and Beal versus Dallas the last time that he played them. What about the splits situation? Kyle Kuzma, rebounds and assists, more, less, at home, away. Well, at home, 12.4. Away, just 11. Does not do so well when it comes to rebounds and assists on the road. At 12.5, he's 7 for 23. That's a 30% hit rate, averaging just 11 rebounds and assists in that road split situation, 23 road games. So there's your Kyle Kuzma information. What about a projection for this guy? Kuzi. Jacuzzi. Why couldn't his parents name him Ja, like Ja Morant? Then we could have called him Jacuzzi. Jacuzma. All right. Kyle Kuzma's projected for 13.5 rebounds and assists, gang. That is more than 12.5 where we're finding him on PrizePicks today. 12.5 though. We're seeing a lot of different mixed information here. 12.5. Some people are betting the under. 12.5 on FanDuel. They're betting the over, right? So people are kind of all over the place. For me, I think I'm taking a pass on everything Washington Wizards related. I think I'm just going to sit it out, man, and not play any Wizards props unless something really surfaces that I got to have. But for Kuzma, I think I'm just not getting a great read on him tonight, not feeling comfortable with him tonight. So he's going to be a fade, but I do like the Zach LaVine. I think out of the 3 that you mentioned, I would probably put LaVine at the top of that list. Then maybe Garland under 7.5 assists. I know it's shaky, and then Kuzma would be probably my least favorite play. Yeah, brother, I'm still here, Denim. These guys, they're keeping me working with these super chats. What else we got? We got another super chat here. Have I missed anybody? I want to make sure that I'm caught up on these. And then one day, I'll be able to walk away. Zen and Bowie coming through with another super chat. He had DeMar DeRozan. DeMar DeRozan's assists and Jason Tatum's PRA. Okay. All right, let's look at both of these. DeMar DeRozan's assists. DeRozan, fantastic night last night against the Hawks. He was dropping off plenty of dimes last night. He is on a back-to-back, though, so maybe fatigue plays a factor for this veteran, DeMar DeRozan. So we got DeRozan for assists. We're talking about Tatum's PRA. Jason Tatum's PRA sitting at 46.5, going up against a tough Miami Heat squad. I'm assuming you're wanting to click more on both of these, right? You're a lot like a lot of these folks out here who want to play the overs, right? So let's go and take a look at DeMar DeRozan first and foremost. So we're going to go to the assist category. We're going to go Chicago versus the Indiana Pacers. DeMar DeRozan. bump him down to 4.5 assists because I want to know how many times he's hit at least 5 or more. And so I bump him down to 4.5 here on props.cash. You can see DeRozan's averaging 4.9 assists for the season. That number dropped a little bit. Last 10 games, 4.7, but we've seen it perk back up at 5.4 dimes in his last 5 games. So overall, he's had at least 5 assists, at least 5. In 25 out of his last 43 games, that's a 58% hit rate. That's pretty good. I like to look for like 60 is sort of a threshold, anything 60 or above. But 58 is pretty close. Pretty close. So now that we know that, what has he done against Indiana? Well, he had 6 assists against Indiana. It was way back in October, though, October 26th. So 1 for 1 this season against the Pacers, nonetheless. All right. And then what about on back-to-backs? Situations where he's in a back-to-back. He's had at least 5 or more assists in 5 out of 8 back-to-backs this season. I like that. That's not bad. 63%. It's over 60%. So that's pretty good. And then what about situations where he's playing at home versus on the road? Let's look at those splits situations. At home, he's dropping off about 4.5 assists per game, it looks like, which is a 48% hit rate. So tonight he's going to be on the road. On the road, much healthier numbers here. DeMar DeRozan on the road, averaging 5.4 assists per game playing away from Chicago. So he's had at least 5 or more dimes in 15 of 22 road games. That's a 68% hit rate for DeMar DeRozan. I like that. Good road data here for DeMar DeRozan. All right, let's get you a projection here on DeRozan. He's at 5 assists. We want to see more than 5 on a projection, and we're getting it right here at 5.6. Now, all the sports books have him at 4.5. All the main ones have him at 4.5. At 4.5, major juice, minus 145, minus 154, minus 150 betting favorite on the over. So, yeah, DeMar DeRozan looks like he's in a good spot for at least 5 dimes. Possibly even more if things are going well. He had 6 last night against Atlanta, 7 against Utah recently, 6 against Philly in his last 5 games. So I could rock with that one. The other one that you mentioned was Jason Tatum's PRA. Now, Tatum is going to be on a back-to-back. We're still waiting on some Boston Celtics news. Now, I've been here doing this stream for nearly 3 hours, okay? So I don't know what's going on with the Celtics. Okay, now I do. Okay, now I do know. Wow. All right. You guys got to keep me on top of this news. So Boston's going to be without Malcolm Brogdon, no Jaylen Brown, no Al Horford, and no Marcus Smart, which leaves Peyton Pritchard, Derek White, Jason Tatum, Grant Williams, and maybe Robert Williams as the starting center. Manetti. All right. So Tatum is going to have to really shoulder the load here against this Miami Heat squad. So the total on this game is now 215.5. It's changed since we started the stream around noon. 215.5 with a 4.5 point spread. So it's still expected to be a very low scoring game. Now things can change. When you talk about this many impactful players being ruled out, things could absolutely change here. I mean, I don't know if Vegas even has a good understanding or a good handle of how many points are going to be scored. Could turn into a track meet with Pritchard and White and Tatum and Williams and Williams. You never know. But yeah, Jason Tatum's going to be asked to take on a huge load here. I think this is going to be almost impossible for us to really pull any game logs. What I mean by that is like no Brogdon, Brown, Horford, and Smart. This might be unprecedented. This might be the first time that something like this has ever happened. Let me try and do something here, though. Let me look at Court IQ, which is a tool that is provided by RotoGrinders. RotoGrinders, in case you don't know, one of these daily fantasy sports sites that offers, different tools and packages and stuff like that. Okay, so 3 seconds ago, somebody ran this little query. So let's take a look at this. Let's see if it'll load. So what they did here was they put Jason Tatum on. They took Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart off. But I think I want to take this even a step further here. So I want to put I want to put all these guys off that are going to be out tonight. So Horford, Smart, Brown, we can uncheck that. Horford, Smart, Brown, Brogdon, and who else was expected to sit out tonight? Well, Gallinari, but he hasn't played a single game this season, so he doesn't really matter. All right, let's run this and see what happens. I want to see how many minutes that these other guys have played together. I'm imagining it's probably not many. Usually when this many starters are out, it's because the game is a blowout and we're talking about garbage time. So like I said, this is probably going to be an unprecedented situation here. So Tatum has played 47.6 minutes this season without Brogdon, Brown, Smart, Horford on the court. So that's not very many minutes. 47.6 minutes played without Brogdon, Brown, Smart, and Horford. So very limited sample size here. These are per minute averages for him. Per minute averages for Jason Tatum. Now I'm going to go out on a limb and say that he's going to play at least 36 minutes tonight. He's going to have to, unless something freaky happens and he gets hurt or something like that. I'm imagining that he plays at least 36 minutes. Boston's just going to absolutely have to ride him. Pause. Boston's going to have to, though. All right, so we got a per 36 minute number here for Jason Tatum without the guys that we mentioned before on the court. So let's see, on average, based on 48 minutes of sample size that we have here, what we can expect for Tatum. Let's see what happens here. First of all, we got his points at 31, plus his rebounds. Those are at 5.3. That seems kind of low, but we'll go with it. And then we've got his assists at 7.56. So that's his PRA. Again, in 48 minutes without Brogdon, Brown, Smart, Horford, or Gallinari on the floor. 43.86 points, rebounds, and assists. This is not by any means a perfect science. This is not by any means 100% accurate. That, by the way, would also come out to about 51.7 fantasy points. Okay. So this number, 43.86, is obviously less than the 46.5 PRA that he's at right now. I'm not even going to look at game logs or anything. Like I said, this is a situation that probably has never happened before. Tatum playing with the group of guys that he'll be playing with tonight around him. I mean, I don't think that's happened, but there you go. So his projection is 43. What did I say? 43.86 based on 48 minutes played this season without all those guys on the floor. This is just Tatum playing with, I don't know who the other four were around Tatum, but the fact that his projection's 43 and I've got him at 43.86, it would lead me to believe that maybe we should be thinking about the under here, especially in a game that's going to be so low scoring, right? This game totals 215.5. It's a 4.5 point spread. Miami, tough team defensively. Jimmy Butler, Caleb Martin, good defenders. Bam Adebayo, good defender. Boston, for me, I'm again just going to fade the entire Boston Celtics team unless you got a real strong hunch about something. I think for me, I'm just going to leave Boston alone. I mean, if you think about the assist situation for Tatum, right? Yeah, he might be handling the ball more. He might be passing it more. He might be, have higher usage and stuff. Right. But then you look at the guys that are around him, right? They still have to make shots. So just talking about his assists here, they still have to make the shots. Tatum could pass it until the cows come home. But if Grant Williams, Derek White, Peyton Pritchard, and Robert Williams are not making shots against a tough Miami Heat team, then his assists are just not going to be there, right? It takes two to tango when it comes to an assist prop. So I don't know. I'm just worried about this roster around Jason Tatum. I'm worried about the matchup for him. It's a back-to-back. I mean, I know he sat out in the last game, but for these other guys, it's a back-to-back. Pritchard and White and Williams. I don't know. I'm staying away from that one, my friend. But I do like the DeMar DeRozan assist prop. I think that's just fine and dandy. I don't mind that one. Kawhi Leonard. Yeah, Jim, we talked about Kawhi Leonard. I think his points look pretty good. I think we talked about that. His points look nice at 26.5. But yeah, there you go, Zenon. DeMar assists I can get on board with. I got to fade Tatum, though. I really do. I just don't like his supporting cast. I don't like the matchup. I don't like the total. He's going to be asked to do more, but, he's also going to have some subpar teammates around him. Safe to say. Carson's coming through with another super chat. He's liking Mikal Bridges' fantasy score and Nikola Vucevic assists. Yeah. Mikal Bridges has been playing very good. Very well. That's because the Phoenix Suns just don't have anybody, really, right? So you see Mikal Bridges here in the last 5 games, 42.8. Sheesh, 42.3, 40.9, 41.8, and 42. He's 5 for his last 5, going over 30 fantasy scores. So why is it at 34? Why wouldn't they just put him up to 40 and say, all right, let's go? Well, I don't know. I don't know why they wouldn't put his fantasy score higher than what it is, but I can tell you this. It looks like DeAndre Ayton is closer to being doubtful tonight than probable. So Phoenix is going to be without Ayton, Booker, Crowder, Payne, and Shamet. So it'll be Bismack Biyombo. Cam Johnson, maybe Cam Johnson being in the starting lineup impacts Mikal Bridges to some degree. Torrey Craig, not really a factor. And then you got Chris Paul running point. Very limited roster here for the Phoenix Suns. So Mikal Bridges should be in a pretty good spot once again. I don't think Chris Paul was out for all of these games, though. I don't think that Chris Paul was out for all of them, right, Jim? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think he was out for all of them, was he? Let's look at something then. Mikal Bridges, FanDuel points, let's go with Chris Paul logs this season. All right. So he's at 34 fantasy score. Games played with Chris Paul. He had 42, which was that game against Memphis. Well, they got him at 42. PrizePicks has him at 42.3. Nonetheless, he went over 34. He had 34.3. That was against Miami with Chris Paul. 32.4 fell short, 20.8 fell short, 27.4 fell short, 38.3. This was at the end of December against Washington. He goes over in that one. 22.9, 29.9. All right, so the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games that he's played with Chris Paul, he's gone over 34 fantasy score and just 2 for 8. I'm sorry, 3 for 8. 3 for 8. 3 for 8. 3 for his last 8 with Chris Paul. From what I'm gathering here, from what I'm seeing here. Okay, so most of those games were without Chris Paul. The 13th, 16th, 19th, 21st, none of those games included Chris Paul. All right, so when we go without Chris Paul this season, so Jim was right on the money here. So this is good that you don't fall into the trap of just looking at some green bars and clicking over. I'm clicking over. Chris Paul was out for a lot of these games. Thank you, Jim. Jim, you the man. Games without Chris Paul, a lot better here. 41.8, 40.9, 42.3, 42.8. So those are the games that you're seeing here on PrizePicks. He had 55.3 against Golden State. So he's hit the over without Chris Paul in 5 out of his last 6 games. So things aren't what they seem when you open up these game logs on a guy like Mikal Bridges. And you kind of get a look at this fantasy score, right? The Charlotte Hornets are the opponent tonight. Charlotte, as far as last 7 games or so, how many fantasy points are they giving up to the small forward position? Well, they are giving up a healthy amount, 46.9. Let's call it 47. 47 fantasy points per game in the last 7 games to small forwards. That is the 4th most plus matchup here from Mikal Bridges. Even with Chris Paul, there's still a chance, given the matchup, that I think he can go over here. So, last but not least, I got a projection for you for Mikal Bridges. You may not like what you hear, though. He's projected for 34.37. He is at 34 fantasy points here on PrizePicks. That's pretty tight. That's pretty close margins. not a lot of difference between the PrizePicks line and the projection that I'm able to see here. So good call, Jim. Appreciate you. Mikal Bridges, again, may not be what it appears to be. For me, I'm going to fade it, but gun to head, and you told me I had to pick more, I had to pick less, I would pick more. All right? Just don't shoot me if it doesn't work out. But gun to head, the matchup does look very good for Mikal Bridges. So I would pick more if I had to choose. But don't be fooled by these game logs, because as Jim pointed out, a lot of those CP3 was not in the lineup. So what else we got here, buddies, my friends? Carson also mentioned Nikola Vucevic for assists in that super chat that he left. Vuce has hit the assist mark in 5 out of his last 5 games. Of course, we don't want to just settle for 5 out of his last 5. We want to look a little bit deeper, go a little bit further, right? So let's look at the last 30 games. Last 30 games for Vucevic, 15 for 30. That's a coin flip if I've ever seen one. 50% hit rate. Last 10 games, though, still pretty healthy hit rate here. 7 for 10, 70%. So Vucevic definitely dropping more dimes. I mentioned I liked his fantasy score. Somebody else mentioned they like the rebounds and assists. Carson's now mentioning he likes just the assists on their own. I think they're all probably pretty solid options. I just go fantasy score on Vucevic because the Indiana Pacers really are giving up a lot of fantasy points per game this season to opposing centers. So that's why I kind of lean that way on Vuce. So let's do what we've been doing. Let's look at some splits action here. First of all, against Indiana, he's already played them once this season, had 4 dimes. That was October 26th. All right. And then at home, Vucevic, 3.8 assists. When he's playing at home, that's a 61% hit rate. But when he's on the road, my friends, 2.8 assists. That's a big difference. That's 1 assist different. Meaning he averages more assists at home, 1 more assist at home, than he does on the road at just 2.8. That's a huge swing. This is not a positive or plus situation for him being on the road tonight. 6 for 23 on the road at 3.5 assists. Now, I will give you this. He has hit his assist prop in 3 out of his last 4 games played on the road. So there is that. A little bit of silver lining, so to speak. Yes, he's playing on the road, but he has hit this in 3 out of his last 4 road games. But I just wanted to point out that big swing there, 1 assist difference is crucial. It's huge. Okay. So let's move ahead. Let's get you a projection on Nikola Vucevic real quick on these 3.5 dimes. The projections provided here by Action Labs have him at 4.2 dimes. That is more than the 3.5. And then we're looking at these different sports books. We're seeing good juice, meaning positive if you're thinking about taking the over. Juice on the over, anywhere from -120 all the way up to -140, betting favorite to go over at 3.5. So 7 out of his last 10, 5 out of his last 5 projected to go over, but there's that little caveat that he does not seem to drop quite as many dimes on the road. And that was true for a lot of the other stats that we looked at for Vucevic. We looked at his fantasy score. We looked at his rebounds and assists. We looked at his assists. He's not quite as good on the road in any of those categories. He's been a better home player this season. This season for the most part. So there you go. Jim Fetty says, I like Vooch. He's on a hot streak. Absolutely. Jatoria Jackson, thank you for subscribing. Chris, thank you for subscribing as well. Got a lot of new subscribers today, and I appreciate that. Again, we're just pushing. We're pushing toward 8,000 subscribers. So please, if you have a friend, family member, somebody you love and care about who is into player props, prize pick stuff, or just basketball in general. I'll be releasing more basketball, just general commentary, reaction videos, and things like that around the game of basketball. My channel's going to be basketball focused. Definitely have them subscribe. Tell them about the channel. Thank you for all the new subscribers, though. Zenon coming through with another super chat. He's asking, what about Donovan Mitchell's points? I think we talked about the taco at the beginning of the show. For me, I'm taking the over on the taco. And I won't rehash this for those of you who have been watching the entire time. I won't go back into the weeds too much on this, but for me, I think the play for me is going to be taking the over on the taco and then the under on the original points line. That's how I would play it. Or just take the over on the taco. You could do that too. And you just got to live with the results, man. I mean, they're giving us a 5-point discount here on Donovan Mitchell. 5-point discount. I know he's been sitting out for some games. I know his recent game logs aren't so sweet. But for me, I think I'm just going to take the taco. I'm going to gobble it up, and I'm going to hope that it doesn't give me heartburn later. All right, I'm going to take the over on the taco. I don't even have the taco play locked in yet. I don't have any plays locked in. My account is missing picks. I've got 29 minutes. I've been sitting here talking to you guys for the last 3 hours. I don't even have a taco play locked yet. So I'm struggling. Britain, we did talk about Bam's blocks and steals versus Boston. That was probably 2 hours ago. But yeah, we absolutely did talk about it. I think it looked like a great play. Chris Day, the only way he answers you now is off of a super chat. Not true, Chris, but when you have this many super chats to catch up on, people that are like basically essentially paying for answers or supporting the channel, supporting the show through super chats, like, wouldn't you want to take care of those people first? I'm just saying. It's not the only way that I answer questions, but I can't get to everybody's question. But those who are using Super Chat, of course I'm going to answer their question before I answer anybody else's question. They're, reaching into their pockets to help support the show. So I got to do that, man. I got to do that. I wouldn't want somebody to Super Chat me and then like me just skip over them to take somebody else's question. So you know what I mean? Adele's coming through with another super chat. I see we've got a pack of picks here, including Jonas Valanciunas at 16.5 points. You're liking the over there, with Porter and potentially Joker and Donovan Mitchell out. Oh, wait, two different situations there. So Valanciunas over 16.5 points without Porter and potentially Joker. All right, that's the first one. And the second one is Donovan Mitchell's rebounds and assists at 7.5 over. All right, cool. Yeah, I was actually looking at some Nikola Jokic versus Jonas Valanciunas today. If you guys have not seen yet, you need to go look up on StatMuse or wherever you like to look up your stats. Nikola Jokic versus Jonas Valanciunas. He's got some fantastic game logs against Joe Val. Jokic absolutely plays well against Valanciunas. So that might be something if Jokic is in to kind of explore a little bit later in the day. But let's go Valanciunas, 16.5 points. Now, obviously, I'm waiting for the news. I think you should as well. We need to wait. We need to see if Joker's in or not, because the matchup for Valanciunas, if Joker is out, would be old man. What's his name? DeAndre Jordan. It would be DeAndre Jordan against Valanciunas, which Jordan's best years are behind him, right? His best years were probably with the Clippers. That was a long time ago with CP3 and Jay Crossover and JJ Redick and all them boys. But yeah, if Valanciunas gets to go up against Jordan instead of Jokic, yeah, I'm with you on Valanciunas tonight. So wait and see approach. Wait and see. We got to be patient. Got to see what's going on with the news. And then your other one was Donovan Mitchell's rebounds and assists. Let's go find Donovan Mitchell, because there's obviously a lot of points talk for Mitchell today because, he's the taco. And yeah, so a lot of people are curious about his points. What should we do with the taco? Should we take the under on his original points line? I like that, by the way. I do like the over on the taco, under on the original. It is Donovan Mitchell, so if he explodes for 30-plus points, guys, don't be surprised. But Valanciunas' points at 16.5. He's been playing some pretty good ball lately. Let me look at this. Let me look at this for you. He's at 16.5 points, 14 for 47 30% hit rate. Now that sounds really bad, and it is bad. It is bad. These are factual numbers. These are not opinion-based. These are not skewed in any kind of way. Yeah, he's really 14 for 47, 30% hit rate. But it gets a lot sweeter here when you look at the last 10 games. He's really started to pick up the scoring, carrying more of the offensive load for New Orleans with Zion Williamson, with Brandon Ingram being out. I mean, somebody's gonna have to step up, right? And we know that CJ McCollum's not the guy who you can trust on a night in, night out basis. So he's 4 out of his last 5, 6 out of his last 10. Again, it would have to be without Jokic for me because he had 13 points going up against Denver in their previous matchup. Just 13, not good. We go back to last season, though, he had some success against the Denver Nuggets. 27, 18, and 19 points in 3 games versus Denver last season. He's 0 for 1 this season, bringing his overall record against the Denver Nuggets to 3 for 4. 75% in his last 4 games. That's 19.3 points per game on average. So love this if Jokic is out. All right, so we're looking at Valanciunas at 14.9 points per game for the season. What about like when he plays at home? Like he's going to be playing at home tonight, right? Not good. At home this season, even in recent games, not good. 4 for 23, 17% hit rate playing at home. 17% hit rate would indicate we should really be thinking about going under on Jonas Valanciunas at 16.5 points, which means he's probably scoring a lot better when he's on the road, and he is at 16.7 points per game versus 13 points per game at home. That's a difference of 3.7 points. That's huge. Huge. So I would be very concerned and cautious with Valanciunas. If Jokic plays, the fact that he's at home, you know what I mean? That's how it's looking. It's looking kind of dicey. Jonas Valanciunas, 19.1 is his projected points tonight, according to the Action Labs Fantasy Labs tool here. He is a betting favorite. He's at 16.5 on all your books. Betting favorite to go over, -130, -120 on some sites. So you are getting some juice on the over. I don't like when things are too conflicting. This super high projection, you're getting some juice on the over, but then you're seeing a guy not scoring so well when he's at home, right? And then we're waiting on the Jokic news. We're waiting to see if Bones Highland plays. I don't know. I'm going to try and find a better play than this, and I think maybe you should too. So I'm going to fade that one. Donovan Mitchell, rebounds and assists, 7.5. Now you got to know something about me. I got perfectionist tendencies. So when things don't look perfect, when everything doesn't line up the way that I want it to, my first thought is just to like leave it alone, personally. So it's probably a flaw of mine, my perfectionist tendencies, but I just want to throw that out there. So when you hear me say fade, it's just because there's just not enough momentum going for that pick, not enough things on my list that I like to see that I want to check off. So I want to throw that out there in all transparency. Full transparency. I like to look for like perfection, and I know it's hard to find. Perfection's hard to find. Donovan Mitchell's rebounds and assists tonight. Again, a lot of folks are talking about his points. Cleveland versus New York. There's absolutely going to be other ways to play Donovan Mitchell, and this could be a good one. These hit rates, he hasn't been scoring so consistently in the last 5-10 games. But the rebounds and assists are something that have been very consistent. He's 24 for 40 this season, averaging 8.6 rebounds plus assists per game. That's 1.1 higher than what his line is set at today at 7.5. We've already seen him against New York put up 2 games of more than 7.5 rebounds and assists. He had 15 back on October 30th, 9 more recently on December 4th at New York. So this is a good spot here for Donovan Mitchell. 2 for 2 against New York this season. If you don't believe that he's going to have this huge scoring performance, maybe he cools his jets when it comes to points. Maybe he gets just enough for the taco, but doesn't hit the original point line. This is another solid way to play it. Who left me this super chat? Because I like this one. Adele Gallardo. Okay. I think you're onto something here. I don't mind this one. Because if his shot's not falling, he still has other ways that he can contribute to the Cavaliers. So he's 8 for his last 10, 80% hit rate at 7.5 rebounds and assists. That's good for a 9.6 rebounds plus assists number. So he's 2 for 2 against the Knicks. He's hit the over in 8 out of his last 10. 80% hit rate, 9.6. That's 2.1 rebounds and assists per game higher than where his line is set at 7.5. So really good to see this for Donovan Mitchell. If you don't trust his points for whatever reason, I think this is a good alternative, a good pivot option for you for Donovan Mitchell. Now we can also look at the road and home splits. Again, he's going to be playing on the road in New York tonight. At home, he averages 9 rebounds and assists. On the road, still a healthy 8.3. That's not low enough to like scare me away. The 8.3 average is more than the 7.5 that he's at today. So as long as he's still averaging more than 7.5, I'm not so concerned that it's a little bit of a dip when he plays on the road versus when he plays at home. So I'm okay with this. I think there's enough good here for us to take a shot on the over. Let's go rebounds and assists here for Mitchell. I've got a projection for him at 8. Which coincidentally is exactly what he would need to hit that over for you. 8 rebounds and assists. He's betting favorite to go over on a lot of these sites here at 7.5. He's anywhere from minus 130 betting favorite all the way up to a minus 142 betting favorite to go over at 7.5 rebounds and assists. Okay. Love the odds. Love the fact that the juice is coming in heavy on the over. I love the projection. I love the consistency that he's shown here. Although his points haven't been all that consistent, the rebounds and assists have been very consistent. So I do like this as a secondary option for Donovan Mitchell. I'm in, buddy. I'm in. Sold. Thanks for leaving that one, Adele. I think that's a very solid look. Damon Raybon sent a super chat. That was 11 minutes ago. Okay, we're catching up. We're finally catching up. Jimmy Butler plays tonight. Yes, Jimmy Butler plays tonight. Let me show you one about Jimmy Butler that could be a good option. Could be something that we go back to. It's his PRA. And I mentioned this one in my private Discord. But his first half PRA, more importantly, 14.5 PRA. Let me show you something about this one that kind of stood out to me. I know some people don't like to play first half props, but in this case, I think you should make maybe an exception, okay? Because this one's got a pretty nice hit rate on it. He's at 14.5 first half PRA, right? Let me bump this down. 71% hit rate, 24 for 34. Now, I like 60% hit rates. In this case, we're getting a prop that's hitting at a 70% hit rate, and this guy is due. He's never missed this prop in 3 straight games. This would be the first time all season that he's missed this prop in 3 consecutive games. What I mean by that is if you look at these game logs here, and anytime you see a red bar, that's a miss, obviously. So he misses it, comes back strong. 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 Now he missed, came back strong. Missed, came back strong. Missed. Come on, Jimmy. One time for the crew. You got to come back strong today against the Boston Celtics. This isn't even a full-strength Boston Celtics squad. This is a depleted Boston Celtics team. This is a Boston Celtics team that's really only going to start like one starter, right? Jason Tatum surrounded by a group of mostly reserves and backups, right? So you're asking for a Jimmy Butler play. I think this one arguably is the highest hitting Jimmy Butler play that I've seen. The one with the highest hit rate of any Jimmy Butler prop might be this one right here. 71% hit rate, 24 for 34. And we're catching him coming off of 2 bad games. Like, I think it's time for him to bounce back tonight. Hopefully. I mean, like I said, he's never missed it in 3 consecutive games. We've seen him miss it in 1 game, two consecutive games, but he's never missed it in 3 consecutive games. So 71% hit rate. He's averaging 16.9 first half PRA. All right. Now, you want to talk about home and road splits? Well, at home, even better news. My guy's averaging more first half PRA, 17.7, than he does on the road. He's 14 for 18 at home this season. Again, coming off of 2 stinky games, 10 and 7. He might be due for a bounce back today. 14 for 18, 78% hit rate at home. 17.7 PRA. All right. Now, one of the teams that he missed against was against Boston. I'm going to guess that Boston team, that Boston squad he faced in that game was a lot stronger than tonight's Boston squad. I don't have anything locked in for this taco yet. So why the hell not? Jimmy Butler, I'm just going to throw the taco in with this. $25 is the most I think I can put on the taco. Why not? I don't know that you're going to find a prop that's hitting at a higher rate than this. 78% at home. 71% overall. Come on, Jimmy. I need you, Jimmy. Prove to me that you're still Jimmy Buckets. I need Jimmy to be Himmy tonight. I need him to be him. I need him to be him. So I'm going to go ahead and take it. Jimmy Butler more than 14.5 first half PRA. Threw it in there with the Donovan Mitchell taco. Best of luck to me and anybody else who might want to go with that. All right. So there you go, Damon Raybon. That is my Jimmy Butler play of the day. Javon, the last super chat. Do not send me any more super chats. I don't know if I've maybe streamed this long once since I've been doing this, well over a year, 2 years. I think I've maybe streamed this long once in my life. Do not, I repeat, send me any more super chats today. Okay? And I mean that. I mean that. Don't do it. Don't do it. This is the last one I'm answering. It's 3:16. Which means Stone Cold Curry is about to open a can of whoop ass on the next person that sends me a super chat. And that's the bottom line. Because Stone Cold Curry said so. Now don't do it. And I mean that. Or else I'll stomp a mud hole in you and I'll walk it dry. Don't do it. All right, Javon, let's get to your super chat. If you leave me another super chat, I promise you I'm walking out on you. You're just giving me money at that point. I ain't answering your question. Don't leave me a super chat. So I'm gone. After this, I'm gone. Your boy's going to go get some lunch. Haven't had anything to eat today. What? I said I haven't had anything to eat today. What? I said I haven't had anything to eat. What? All right. Enough of this nonsense. Javon Howard, he's asking about Julius Randle. Wants to take the rebounds, but he wants to take the under. Or he wants to take the under on Julius Randle's PRA. And yeah, I think you are in a good spot by taking some Randle unders on anything that includes his rebounds. Because to your point, and I think you're the one that pointed that out, Julius Randle without Mitchell Robinson, for whatever rhyme or reason, just doesn't seem to rebound quite as well as he does with Mitchell Robinson. You would think it would be like the opposite. And I don't think that it's Jericho Sims that's like, coming in and grabbing all these boards or whatever. But for some reason, Julius Randle, we'll take a look at it though, just to illustrate my point, is not rebounding like he does with Mitchell in the lineup. So let's look at that together. Full season information here on Julius Randle, looking at his rebounds. All right, looks great, right? A lot of green. We know Randle's been on an absolute tear. He's been a stud lately, grabbing tons and tons of boards. 20 for 48. But when you look at like the last like 30 games or so, that number goes 18 for 30, 60%. Last 10 games, it goes up to 8 out of 10, 80%. So grabbing a ton of boards. Looks fantastic until you take Mitchell Robinson out, which is what we're going to do right here real quick. Games played without Mitchell Robinson. Look at this. Last 10 games. He had one big one against Toronto. I'll give him that. But one for his last 10 otherwise. 9, 8, 11, 8, 10, 5, 11, 7, 9. Now, most of these games, if you draw a line, if you were to draw like a line right down here, right? Most of these games were from the month of November where he was not playing the quality of basketball that he's been playing lately. The month of November was bad for Randle. Well, it was okay. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't what he's been doing since the start of the new year, right? I think he made a New Year's resolution to play better or something. I mean, I don't know what to attribute this to, but you're seeing Julius Randle here with 19 boards against Toronto, but prior to that, he had failed to reach 12 boards with Mitchell Robinson off the floor. So we're talking one for his last 10. One for his last 10. Now, that's at 11.5 rebounds. He had 19 against Toronto. All right, so that's worth mentioning. What about the other stats that include rebounds? Something like his PRA. You asked about that. That's got a slightly higher hit rate because it does include points. And obviously Randle has been getting buckets. So he's 4 for 10 without Mitchell Robinson this season. So I would leave anything that had his points off. So I would leave the PRA off. I'd probably leave the PR off too. 4 for 10 on PRA. As far as the PR, 50%. So I would leave that off too, because you're talking about going under, right? So I'd probably leave that off. So that really leaves just the rebounds or the rebounds and assists. So let's look at the rebounds and assists without Mitchell Robinson, mind you. Boom. 1 for 10. Of course, that huge 19 rebound game against Toronto, he cleared the rebounds. He cleared the rebounds and assists in that game. But rebounds and assists are sitting at 16.5 today. One for his last 10, had 27 rebounds and assists against Toronto. But same hit rate. So whether you want to go just under on the rebounds at 12, 1 for 10, or you could go under on the rebounds and assists at 16.5. He's also 1 for 10 on that without Mitchell Robinson. So I don't know if that Toronto game was a fluke or if the game prior to that, the Atlanta game, if that was the fluke. I guess we're going to find out tonight. Tonight's like the rubber match, right? This new Julius Randle that we've been seeing at the start of the new year. 2 games played without Mitchell Robinson. 1 game, subpar. Another game, amazing, right? So tonight is the rubber match. Tonight is where we really figure out if Julius Randle without Mitchell Robinson, the new Julius Randle, we'll call him the new Julius Randle, not the Julius Randle from the month of November. We're going to find out tonight if, what he's really made of, I guess you could say. He's going up against Cleveland. Guys, Cleveland, I don't have to tell you. You guys probably already know. Jared Allen, Evan Mobley, one of the toughest front courts in the league. There's going to be probably fewer opportunities for him to grab boards and whatnot. Wouldn't you imagine that? Wouldn't you think? Let's look at both of these stats under the filter of versus Cleveland. So he's at 16.5 rebounds and assists. He's 0 for 2 against Cleveland. 16 rebounds and assists and 13 rebounds and assists. 0 for 2 against Cleveland. What about just the rebounds? 9 and 9. Also 0 for 2 against Cleveland. So if you're going to take the under, I would probably include a prop that does not consist of points. Jacoby, don't do it. Oh, God, it's too late. He did it. He did it, folks. I'm never going to leave. I'm never going to get out of here. I'm never going to do it. It's never going to end, is it? I love you, Jacoby. I'll be right with you. Please take a number, sir. We'll get somebody over there to help you in just a moment. Thank you for the super chat. Yeah, I would take the under on Randle's rebounds or rebounds and assists. That's the way I would roll with it. Let's get you projections on both. Both of them. That's BOFFUM. Both of them got a projection of 12.8 rebounds for Julius Randle. That is more than 12. He is at 12 boards on PrizePicks. Big betting favorite to go over at 11.5 boards on one book. Betting favorite to go under 12.5 boards on another book. So that's what PrizePicks does. Sometimes they'll split the difference. They'll put it right down the middle. And in this case, they have done that with Julius Randle's rebounds. I would probably lean toward the under at 12, although there's a lot of juice on the over at 11.5, insinuating that he's going to find at least 12 boards tonight against a Cleveland team that he's never done that against. At least not this season, he hasn't done that. So what about the rebounds and assists? Maybe that's the safer play. Yeah, I think it is. I think it's the safer play just because we're getting juice on the under at 16.5. I like that one a little bit more. There's no chance for a tie or a push. So I'm going to rule the rebounds out. And I know he's projected for 17 rebounds and assists, but again, projections aren't always right, but it's a good point of reference for you. But I think right here is where I want to go. I want to go 16.5 rebounds and assists, and I would click less on Julius Randle. Again, not great hit rates without Mitchell Robinson. 0 for 2 against Cleveland this season. It's going to be a tough night for Julius. All right. Legit. This is the last one. Anybody who leaves a super chat after this, you're doing it out of the kindness of your heart and as a donation to the cause, the charitable cause. So, Jacoby, Double J, Mr. Johnson. He's asking about Zubac over 10.5 for both points and rebounds. Listen, I get some questions. I get some questions about Ivica Zubac, and I've pretty much come down to this. I'll illustrate why Ivica Zubac, for me, is nothing more than a first half play. Ivica Zubac first half minutes per game this season. We'll add the word average in there just in case. All right. So Zubac, 15.7 first half minutes per game this season. 47 games played. He's averaging 15.7 first half minutes per game. Okay? First half minutes, 15.7. Now watch what happens when you look at second half minutes per game this season. 15.7 in the first half, just 13.5 minutes in the second half. That is a difference of 2.2 minutes. I know it doesn't sound like a lot. But the fact of the matter is that Coach Ty Lue seems to go away from playing Zubac in crunch time, down the stretch, in the second half. He gets fewer minutes. I mean, I showed you the numbers, 46 games, plays over 15 minutes, nearly 16 per minute or per game in the first half. And then he's at 13.5 in the second half. So I don't like playing Zubac for anything full game for that reason. Because I know he's not going to be out there in the fourth quarter when we need him the most. I know that when overtime comes around, if there's, a chance at overtime, that Zubac is probably not going to be out there in overtime. So for me, Zubac is a clear first half only play. I can't go full game on him. And I think if you looked at the hit rates for Zubac first half versus full game, I think his first half hit rates, and I haven't looked into it, but I would imagine his first half hit rates are probably better than his full game hit rates are. So if you like Zubac, which I do, I'm a Zubac buyer today. I'm buying some Zubac. I like him for first half only against the Lakers. So what we'll do here is go Ivica Zubac first half game logs versus Lakers, and we'll go include the playoffs. It's a Zubac revenge game. Once upon a time, he was a Laker himself. And this is just going to quickly, just kind of give us a little information on Zubac. Now, the problem with Zubac is this guy is a foul machine. He likes to foul a lot. He can get you some block shots. He can find a steal once in a while, but Unfortunately, his physicality, his style of play leads him to picking up fouls. Sometimes he's just a big screen setter, all right? Sometimes he likes to move on those screens. That's an offensive foul that he gets called for. He just does some dumb stuff from time to time, all right? Some dumb things from time to time. But if you're looking to play some Zubac, and I think it's a good matchup, and I think it's a good situation for him, I think first half only is going to be the way that I would go. So just looking at it like his points against the Lakers, we've seen him, 1, 2, 3 out of his last 5 games, he's hit the points. His PRA set at 10.5, so he needs at least 11. Missed in his last game. He hits it here, hits it there. 10 in that one, not good enough. Hits it in that one. So he's like 3 out of his last 5. I don't want to go back too far here. I don't want to go back to 2019 or 2020. So we're kind of keeping it within the last year or two against the Lakers. And his fantasy scores at 13.5. So let's look at that one too. He is also 1, 2, 3 out of his last 5 on the fantasy score. If we do back it up just a little bit further, we got 2 more games where he's hit. So he's hit the fantasy score in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of his last 7. I'm okay with that. 5 out of his last 7, that's not too terrible. I don't really have any projections, though, for anything first half related, but I'm just saying, for me, Zubac would be a first half only play. You just have to hope and pray that the guy does not get into foul trouble. That's his biggest issue, is picking up cheap little ticky-tack first half fouls. He had 3 the other day against the Dallas Mavericks. He was well on his way to crushing the first half fantasy score. Picked up a 3rd foul, unfortunately, on Luka Doncic. So otherwise, he would have soared past his fantasy score. Just getting you some projections, though. Here's something that we can do on Zubac. I think I'm a Zubac first half fantasy kind of guy. He's at 28.52 full game fantasy. So if we take that 28.52 and we divide it by 2, we could expect about 14.26 fantasy points per half. Again, this is not an exact science, but we know that this guy is more of a first half player than he is a second half player. So if he's going to hit the fantasy score, it's probably going to be a first half. He's going to be more of a first half heavy fantasy score kind of guy. Once the game gets into the 4th quarter, Zubac's minutes really start to dry up. But 14.26 fantasy score, that's taking the full game fantasy projection, that's slicing it in half. 14.26 versus 13.5. That would probably be my way to play Zuby. Big Zuby today. All right, that's what I would do. Okay, my friend? Tyrone says, CJ, before you go, I have a question. No, you don't, Tyrone. Don't play with me, man. Don't play with me, because now I'm getting hangry. All right? Now I'm getting hangry because your boy's running on empty. I'm running off of a 0-calorie energy drink. What's this got in it? 0? Yeah, it's a 0-calorie energy drink. All right? So I'm all hopped up on caffeine, and I ain't got no food in my system yet. So you don't have no question for me, brother. Guys, that is it, man. I appreciate the outpouring of support today. Thank you for Ryan T leaving that super chat. Thank you for Adele leaving that super chat there at the end. Just saying, giving thanks. Listen, I'm thankful for you guys as well. It goes both ways. It really does. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing if it wasn't for you guys, for those who are signed up to my Patreon and are supporting the content, the channel. The work that I put in, both here on YouTube and for the exclusive stuff that I post to Patreon, the community that I've built through Discord. Listen, none of it's possible without you guys. I know I've been streaming here for about 3.5 hours. It's been a long day at the office, we'll just say. So I'm going to go get some lunch. I'm going to go refresh myself. And then I'm going to go and start looking at some more picks and props and post my findings to Patreon. We went 7-1 last night. Hopefully it's a sign of things to come. Things have definitely been a little cold, a little rocky, a little shaky, a little up and down for me lately. But hopefully yesterday is the start of sort of, positive momentum. We'll call it positive momentum. But anyway, gang, I thank you for all your support. Appreciate all of you guys. And we'll catch you tomorrow. Good luck on all your entries tonight. We'll see you then.